Hello, it's good to see every single one of you today. We're so delighted to be here to continue the conversation that already started earlier today from Seun Kuti on Dr. Damage's platform, and we'll go all out to discuss issues and the fallout from that. Earlier on, some people had said they wanted to talk about the issues that have to do with, today being a Sunday worship day. A lot of people are interested in knowing. And so we give more light to areas that you have not, you have doubts or you want to ask or you want to contribute. That will be very delightful to see you guys here. Having said that, I want to also say that it was a delight to have the son of the great Fela Kuti. Fela Kuti, when we were growing up, Fela Kuti, Fela was one of those we actually imitated to become. Let me use this word in a good way. We were radicalized by listening to Fela, because you couldn't but. Now, I'll give you a small example. I got to be, kind of radicalized from Fela's music and then the music of Wole Soyinka. Some of us don't know that Wole Soyinka used to have an album out there in the market. I think it may still be there. Okay, where he sang about the ills of Nigeria. If you want to think and you think Nigeria is making progress, go and listen to that Wole Soyinka's music. I'm trying to remember the title now, but it's somewhere on the internet. That's just to let you know that we aren't making progress because the same thing Wole Soyinka sang about, it is the same thing that is still going on. It is the same thing that the first coup plotters said was the problem of Nigeria. It is the same thing that subsequent coup plotters said was the problem of Nigeria. It is the same thing we are suffering today. The question need be, are we human beings? Yes, we are human beings. Do we reason? Yes, we reason. Then why are we constantly making the same mistake over and over and expecting a different result? Does anybody profit from that? Is that how things should be done? And then you get a result that you will need? Well, having said that, I'm going to send out the link real quick so that all of us can contribute to this discussion. We are eager to hear from you and know your view on these topics. And if you are one of those who listen to Fela, Seun Kuti, you will know that he's a very brilliant young man. Thank you so much for your support. Really appreciate it. Your support is great. Thank you so much. That will enable Rudolph and I to have a cup of tea while this program is going on. Even though I'm very tired, but you see, I'm persuaded by now by seeing this 20 card here, to stay for longer. We really appreciate you guys. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Tokwe, for also being there. Tokwe has been a great help on this channel, even though she's a moderator also. We appreciate you always being around to help. Thank you so much. And then, having said that, I want to go real quick to say that the issue we have in Nigeria is not that we don't have the truth tellers. We have always had truth tellers. Before now, it was Gani Fawumi who told the truth. Before now, it was, there have been great men in Nigeria who constantly bring the government of Nigeria to a point where they can even accept that certain things should be done in a different way. But for where? They don't accept. They don't do that. Okay? And it becomes a problem because people begin to wonder, are we not human beings like others? Okay? Earlier on, Seun was talking about the roads in Nigeria. Those of you who live in the West, you know how roads are in the West. In fact, sometimes when you are traveling at night, you find out that certain places that are so dark and they are a bit dangerous. They have street lights constantly on there, even though nobody is living around there. But those places are lit up so that you don't skip off the road. And even when you do want to skip off, there are guardrails that are put by the side that will stop your car. So they do everything possible to keep their people alive. What is difficult? We can't do that. We can't keep our people alive. Anyway, great men are here to answer that question, and there are many other few that are going to come in. Here comes Chim. Chim, you're welcome. And also Tony. Tony, you're welcome. It's good to see you guys. As true to your word, we are here to continue the discussion. And yeah, Chim, make your first introduction or make your first opening remarks.
Is it me or Tony? I can't hear you.
I think your name is Chim. I said Chim.
Well, KJ, good to have you again, and thanks for having us. I think, by and large, so are we going back to Seun Kuti, or are we going to the religious one? Which one are we talking about? I can't hear you. You're more than muted.
Like I said, Chim, it's your initial comment, so you can say in whichever way you want to go.
Okay, all right. So thanks for having me. It's been a beautiful Sunday, however I want to look at it. I think give or take, the way the show went today is not bad. We went from being organized to a freelance kind of approach. Some may say, oh, but in between that time, you can see the kind of education that came out of it. The things you said, what Dr. Dominic said, Tony, what I shared and all that. I learned a lot of things today. Not that I didn't know about Constantine and all that, but sometimes things get lost here and there and all that. But a lot of it, for instance, like the education that Dr. Dominic gave on the different sects of Catholicism. Yeah. I didn't say, for me, if you ask me, I would have said the ground norm in Catholic worship for priests is that they cannot get married. But he started talking about, the ones in Lebanon and all that, and how all of those things differ. But I can bet you that a lot of people in this world don't know this. Not until Dominic started saying those things to them, like, really? So there are Catholic priests somewhere that are allowed to get married. I never knew that. I would say it's a taboo. You're not supposed to go there. So it was beautiful. And then, of course, Seun coming on the show, like I said, what the mistake people make sometimes is to judge someone based on just what they're seeing that person do at that time, without taking into cognizance a lot of things. Now, you see, this guy probably has a better education than a lot of us. One is he was around Fela himself. Anything we see from the moral angle of whatever Fela was doing, he saw it close quarters. He went to good schools himself. He had uncles who were very educated. For that family, people seem to forget, it's a very well-educated family. The Kutis, they're well-educated, from his uncle Beko, Olukoye, who was an educationist and was used to be Minister of Health, to his other uncle, and then there are, of course, other family members that you and I don't even know about. His father himself is well-educated. The man went abroad to study, was it law or something? And then decided to go and do music. It's just like Ojukwu, who was supposed to go and study, I think it was also law, but he went there and did something else. So history. He went and studied history, which his father never forgave him for. You get the point. And then people don't, and those who haven't, let me dovetail a little bit away. Thank God for people like Frederick Forsyth and Elechia Madi. I read those books way early when I was hot and willing to read. Those things educated me a lot. When I see Ojukwu before he died, I used to understand who he was. I could understand where this man was coming from. A man who came from a very wealthy home.
Very proud, very, very...
and was struggling to break away from his father.
Yes.
Stubborn. He was struggling to break away from his father. His father was having influence over his life all over the place.
Do you remember, Chim, that he had to go and went into the army as a recruit, even though he had a degree?
You know why? Because everywhere he went, his father's influence was there.
Yes.
He wanted to join the public service. His father influenced it. So he said, okay, the only place his father did not have any influence was the Nigerian army at that time. So he went and joined.
Chim, even at that, his father had influence because by his qualification, he should have joined at the officers' cadet.
Yes.
But he didn't go to the officers' cadet, so his name didn't show up at the people who were supposed to influence it. He went to enter as a recruit.
Exactly.
Yes, so that made it impossible for them to control. Before they knew it was already in the army.
Exactly. But the point I'm just trying to bring out is this was still a time. Today, how many children want to live outside of their father's influence? Not too many people.
Jim, you know, sorry to take this word out of your mind. You know, this was a man who came from a very Sir Louis Ojukwu was a very wealthy man, very influential. And he wanted someone to inherit. I mean, he can't understand how can this son of mine, who was in Eton, who was driving a Porsche car and he's carrying his lecturers, you know, in his car, and he was so held, you know, black man, you know, perhaps the only person in that class at that time, and you know. So he lived, his father pampered him, spoiled him, but he didn't let his father's wealth, you know, get into his head. He just wanted to, you know, distance himself from his father because his father wanted him to inherit the business, but he never wanted that. He wanted a life of his own, you know, and I mean, I don't see that kind of thing happening in the world today where, you know, he just wanted to be himself and earn his own name
that brings me to when I was speaking about socialism. I read a few comments. I have decided that I'm not going to be responding to everything I see on that comment section, because if you do that, you just a recipe for So I saw somebody who say, "Chim, you're," you know, they forget that we're in a forum where we don't have enough time to explain everything. I'm breaking things down and there's someone who say that I'm being elementary, whatever. So you want me to go and bring the textbook and give to you the way it is? What are you talking about? Listen, Karl Marx, if you read and follow Karl Marx's theory word for word, if people really know what his works is explaining, listen, you cannot own anything. Everything will be owned by the state. And that is what Lenin and co try to accomplish. But you see the hypocrisy in it, which is what the beauty of Animal Farm, that's satire. If any of us has watched it here.
George Owen.
Yeah, George Owen's Animal Farm. Go and watch it. That was basically what George Owen was trying to bring out. You see, George Owen is a beautiful writer. That's another wonderful writer who was always trying to bring out the contradictions that existed in certain thought views. You know, when in Animal Farm you had Napoleon who said all animals are equal. But some are more equal than others. So he's telling everybody, don't lie down on the bed. This is what your people who are, but he was lying down on a bed. And that's the hypocrisy in socialism. People go and see it. It's a thing that is always saying, socialism literally wants to rob you, KJ. Sometimes it's saying that Bill Gates should not own what he owns. Away from him. Do you understand? And I see that, listen, I love it when government is responsible for taking care of its people. It's a beautiful thing. You know, there are people who are going to be weak in society. Even from the faith base, all fingers are not equal. There are going to be people, and that's the original intention of a tithe. That's another concept to go into. The original intention behind giving the tithe doctrine that people have also misunderstood. To say, you know, I don't want to go there. But the point is, people need to understand that for everything we say, we need to sit down, go back and look at the foundation of that thing. Because if you don't understand the foundation, you will miss it.
You can't understand it, yes.
Yes, you just miss it. So that would be my initial comments. And Tony, you can go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think I agree. I agree with you. You see, sometimes again, pardon me, because I just want to say a few things about the Bible, and you know, thank God KJ is here. You see, there are certain statements that you read from the Bible, and you just take it from the contextual meaning. But if you go to look at, for instance, if you're dealing with New Testament, you know, verses, you know, quotations and examples that are made, sometimes you need to go to the Greek, you know, so that you can, you know, go to the root word of certain words that are used. They are used within certain context, and they mean something different from the contextual meaning that you just see right there. Because when you dig into the Greek and the original meaning, the root word in Greek, it gives you the impression, gives you the picture, of what that word is saying. And if you don't understand that, you just gloss through what is being written in English and just think that that is what it's saying. But there's a deeper meaning, and for you to comprehend it and have a deeper understanding of what is being said, sometimes you need, if it's Old Testament, you need to go to the Hebrew, to the Hebrew text, or the Hebrew translation, to see exactly what it's saying. And so I think that's where some of the times, you have people. Let me just give you an example, if you don't mind. This is not the Bible lecture, but I just make it brief. If you go to Genesis, the creation of the world, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And then it goes down. When it goes to verse 2, it tells you, and the earth was without form and void. Now, if you look at it literally the way it is, you think. Yes, you would think that God created the earth and then it didn't have form and it was void. But that's not what he's saying. If you go to the Greek, if you go to the Hebrew, okay, Breshit bara Elohim. In the beginning, God created, the earth, and then something happened to the earth that was created. Now, in the Hebrew, what follows is the word tohu bohu or tohu wabohu, which means that there was confusion. Something happened to the earth that God created, but it's not clearly stated in that verse 2. It said the earth became void. You think that if you go and check the literary meaning of void, you just think that, oh, there was nothing in there. No, but that's not what it's saying, because if you go to the Greek, you understand that we don't know how many years, but after a period of time, something happened to the earth, the first earth that God had created. And so God froze the earth and covered it with water, rendered it terrapush, covered it with water. So there was no life living there because there was something that happened, disobedience or something like that. So there were beings, I don't know if it's human beings, who were there in the first earth. And so something happened and God froze that earth, covered it with water. After a period of time, God decided to recreate the earth. And that was the earth that brought Adam into being. So, but if you don't go to the Hebrew to understand what and the earth, became null and void, you just read through it and you just think that, it's just telling you the grammatical meaning of null and void. But that's not what it's saying, because the Hebrew text tells you exactly, what that word means. But just translated, you have a I'm trying to find the word that they use to describe it, but it's just a translation problem that you have there in English, which does not express fully what happened or what is meant by that word unless you go to the Greek, unless you go to the Hebrew. That's what I'm trying to say. So now, if anybody who hasn't studied the Bible or who is just studying it for whatever, like a literature and so on, you just read it, and when someone tells you what I'm saying, and you say, no, it's not there. To understand it, you have to go to the Hebrew. And then it can be clear to you. And thank God for, now that we now have, social media and so on, you can just Google and say, what does the Bible mean when it says the earth became null and void? It will tell you exactly what happened.
I think part of this ill education is also the way the Bible is read in churches. People read it. Okay, so let me put it this way. A lot of ministries in modern Pentecostalism, what they do is to do themes rather than reading the Bible cover to cover. So when the man will come out and say, oh, we're doing, this is our week of prosperity, whatever, and then that's all. So people do not take time to immerse themselves in the book itself to understand what is being said. They run with what their papa is telling them. And you can't listen. The beauty of education, the education that I've enjoyed the most, the time I really felt I was educated was when I went to schools where my lecturer will come up, put up a topic ahead of time and say, go discuss it. Yes. And then we'll come to the class. Listen, I remember as a sociology student when my lecturer in the University of Ibadan said something to the effect that
you are a graduate. Come on, bro.
at master's level.
Okay. My first degree was in UI.
What department?
My first history.
Okay, so you probably will know Professor Dr. Labinjo in sociology.
No, I didn't take courses in sociology, but the days
it's the
of
same block, it's the same building.
Ade Ajayi, Ikime, and all that.
People like Otite.
Yes, Otite. I know Otite. Yes, I know.
Good. There's nobody who goes to Ibadan who doesn't know Otite.
Yes, he's a sociologist, great guy.
Yes. So these are people who they don't just come and they teaching. No, you like as we're finishing one topic, the week to the next, they will tell you we're going to be discussing social mobility. Go and read up social mobility. You come to the class and it's a conversation. The lecturer wants you to disagree with him. Give me your points. He's not punishing you for holding an alternative views. This is not handout teaching. This is you've researched. He will say something, you will disagree with him. He will push back. There is no way you're in that kind of environment you will not learn. But if what you're doing is being spoon-fed, the lecturer just comes like the authority, he tells you one thing, you must all run with it. Nobody is pushing back. Nobody is asking and says, "Sir, I don't agree with you. I just read up so and so." These are the kind of lecturers I was trained from. So when I come and I listen to you, if I don't agree, and it was respectful. It wasn't like we were just standing. Listen, let me give you one. A lecturer said, "True or false, miracles work." That was the topic. And we all went, we read this thing up, read and all came back. If I tell you the kind of conversation we had that day on miracles, he even, this man is somebody who was born a Methodist, but he went to an Aladura environment to test this miracle. He went as far as joining a group of people who were minting money, this fake money thing. This is a lecturer, professor. I had a lecturer who went to study prostitution. He had a syndicate. Yes, I'm not kidding. He went, he got his person. We were studying them, trying to find out how do they have a pimp? Is there a ring around it? Is there somebody who is commanding the thing somewhere? Because people just think you see somebody on the road and that is the end of it. No, there is a chain of process in that whole thing. There is someone she's remitting money to. So we studied all of these things. I remember when we did that particular class, that was another scary class for me. We had to go to field work, do all those things. So, but I doubt some of these things happen today with some of these students. Just sit down in a class, they give them information and they run with it. But that's not what happened in the days when so it helped us discuss some of even religion. This religion we're talking about, you will see lecturers, not that he disagrees, but he will necessarily push back.
Yes.
To force you to think.
Yes.
So it's an interesting education can be interesting if you open your mind.
Yes. Even in the seminary, you see seminarians discussing. Sometimes you will say this guy must be a devil, but that's not it. It's a discussion. Everybody takes a position and they're trying to dilate it, and and at the end of the day, it brings forth some understanding. That all everybody goes enlightened. But let me say something about what.
Hold on, Tony. One of the things I want to add is this: some of the way that we study the scripture or the Bible, as the case may be, that some of us have daily devotional, and when we read from those daily devotional, we assume that is all about the Bible. But see, they are beyond. There's a study called the exegesis of the Bible, which is a careful analyzing of
to read into or to read out of the Bible.
Yes, and then you have the humilities. The humilities also is a study. It's also how to apply those principles you have seen into what you have studied. Now, you may I'm trying to get a simple text that we can just look at, to analyze. But you see, the thing is, it's not just reading through, because if you read through, it is a word. For those who read through, is history of Israel or the Israelis and their tribes. But for those who come with a spirit of understanding, which is given by God, it's not everybody who has it. I give an example. I used to go to one of my Oga to try to teach him, or rather talk about the apostolic approach, because they keep thinking it's apostolic church. I said, no, the apostolic and the prophetic approach to understand the Bible is totally different. And I used to go every morning. You know, we make a duty. He tell me we'll come early, both of us, and I go sit in his office and I begin to explain. And I begin to explain. And then whatever usually when I finish explaining, you tell me, so what's the difference between this apostolic and the Pentecostal thing you're talking about? Let us continue tomorrow. So one morning, I was going to his office and I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, oh boy, you think this is open to everybody? I say, wow. Because before now, we have done this discussion many times, so he couldn't still understand. So when I heard that, you think this knowledge is open to everybody, I stopped at his door and I turned back. So what am I saying here? You can decide to read from until you come with a clean mind. It's just like when there are certain traditional practices that people do. They tell you the criteria for which you can cross to the next level. Until that criteria is met, you cannot be able to meet the next level, you know. But having said that,
this thing you said there, just to give you an example. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah.
I was writing an exam in the days when we used to write computer exams. I mean, that is one course back in the days that I think our Nigerian education did a lot of disservice to. Many of us were doing computer, we never saw computers. So in this particular class, I had answered all the questions and I got one. I was blank. And I know I read very well for that. I did everything to remember this thing. I was blank. So I gave up, picked up my sheet and was going to submit it. Less that particular question. I just concluded, okay, I won't fail. Maybe I won't make up to 80, but at least I'll make 60 something. That's fair enough. Like I'm not a major thing. Let me just go and drop my script. Just as I was about dropping the script, the whole idea of what I was looking for just came back. I ran back to my seat and literally regurgitated the whole thing. So when I left, I was like, why did this happen to me? And my mind was like, I wanted to test you to see if you were going to copy. Because around me were people who were trying to help me, and I said I won't look at their scripts. I will just do this in honorably. Someone was saying, guy, I'm telling you, and I just blocked him. But as soon as I went, I tried to do it honorable and drop it. The whole idea came back. I went and I wrote what I knew. The point I'm making is backing your idea of revelation. If something is not revealed to someone, you're hitting a brick wall. If Paul did not get the revelation of Christ, he will still have continued in the persecution of the church.
Yeah.
But when he got that revelation, that's why he was able to change course.
Yes.
His eyes opened. But those who didn't get the revelation still did not understand what he was doing, and even started persecuting him and say, "Oh, this guy is a saboteur. He has switched sides." There
were also those who were with Christ, like Peter, who confessed that they can't even understand the writings of Paul. And yet, Paul wasn't a disciple. You know what I mean when I say among the 12. But he got such profound. Yes, he got such profound knowledge, so profound, information that you sometimes be wondering, where did this guy get this thing? Look at what he says, because forefathers mentioned. I'm sorry, KJ mentioned it when he was talking about war without end, and it looked like people are saying, "What is KJ talking about? What does it mean?" Paul tells us in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 21, "Unto him be glory in the church by Jesus Christ throughout all the ages, world without end. Amen." Quote and unquote. This is King James Version. World without end. And then if you go to Revelations, John tells us, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth." So this world will pass away. A new world will come.
Tony, come back, complete it. And I saw a new heaven and a new what? Descending.
Descending, yes.
Descending.
Yes.
So it wasn't in heaven, it was descending to earth.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So that leaves a very big gap. We're not going to be able to close on this broadcast. For you to know, so that those of you who say you are Christians and you are fellowshipping with Christ, go and sit down and search. Say to the Holy Spirit, give me understanding of these things I've heard today, and see what will come out of it.
And then people have to understand that, heaven is not our place. If you go and read the scripture, we say, the earth he has given to the sons of men. We're only going to be there for a while when we're raptured. We're going to be, in fact, there for 7 years. And then when the Antichrist is dealt with, we're going to come back here in heaven. We live here. This is where, in the Millennium Kingdom, if you go and read, people have to study and understand this thing. If you do, then all those things that you're seeing, you're thinking there are contradictions and so on, you'll be able to understand them better and place them, the way it should, to help you understand them. But if you're just reading the Bible as a historical book, then it will remain to you like history, But we need to go down. The reason why people go and study to become a doctor or to become a lawyer or to become an engineer is because, you go there and they give you some specific training that you need. But people don't see that you can also go and study the scripture. You have to study it because it has a theology. The Old Testament and New Testament has its own theology, and you have to understand it. And you don't understand it by just taking the Bible and reading, unless the Holy Spirit helps you. But you need to go through some training, some studies, and go to the root word of certain things, so that you can have a clear vision, of what this thing is saying. Let me just stop there.
Thank you so much. Jagun, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
I've been listening. You guys have gone deeper. I'm going to need my snorkeling gear with the fishes down there where you are. You guys, it's deep where you are, but I like it.
Come on, Jagun.
I like it. In that, when we're speaking of just concept, I'll come from a more humanistic point of view. The concept put us here. How did we become? What is history? What is spiritualization? Spirituality? Who holds the key? There are too many questions. A lot of these questions can be found in our lives, in the experience that we have, in our honesty. A lot of these experiences can be observed in the life that we see. A lot of this understanding can be given through scripture, whichever scripture you decide upon. I personally have decided upon the scriptures of Christ as far as they go and as far back as we can understand. And where you have reached in terms of earth is ours, heaven is God's. You spoke about the heavens were descending, coming down. That is actually an underlining, I believe, that the heavens and the earth will join in order to create a brand new address, if you like. And in this aspect, I think truth would really be understood and seen. I don't know of any other religion that explains it the way Christianity explains it. And the way Christianity explains it, let's say, I agree with more. I do not call myself a Christian, largely because I understand that, man, to be Christ, I don't think I'm ever going to reach such a stage on this earth. I can't see human beings with all the frailties that we have being able to reach anything close to Christ-like. Yet there is something perplexing with me in my spirit, and I don't always know what to do with it, which is when Christ said that you, as humans, will do more than I have done. When I read that and try to look around and see where it's happening on the planet, I can't see it at all. And I'm a person that refused just to join in. I remember going to a Pentecostal church, being baptized. I wanted to be baptized. What happened to me more a realization of the crossover rather than being spirit-filled. I don't know if I was spirit-filled. I didn't begin to speak it in tongues, and I wasn't going to pretend about it. I wasn't. If I'm speaking in tongues for real, let it happen. It's certain things that I haven't seen nor experienced, and I'm not going to pretend with anyone that I did when I didn't. So these are questions that I would like to evaluate since you've gone so deep already, and give understanding if it be anything true to you guys in any way. That's a question rather than any statement.
Okay. Can you repeat that question again?
Which is to say, for everything I've said and for what Christ said about we as human beings, for the marvel of the miracles that he was able to do, that we as human be able to do more than he did. Now, my own, if I could just browse around it, in my own spirit, I've always felt that I want to heal. And I felt, what would it be to heal? So I'll go around the world and I will touch people, pray for them, and they will be healed. And that is a thing for me. I remember a friend of mine died when we were very young. And in the middle of the funeral, I had the urge to go to the coffin, open it, touch my friend who had died, and raise him. But I dared not embarrass myself to do it. I don't know. Maybe if I was...
That's why you failed. You see, the problem is that you had a leading, but
that's where I failed, though.
You were looking at what people would say, that they would shame you if you spoke the word and it wouldn't happen. That's why you failed.
I agree.
That's why you failed. That's faith.
It's okay, my brother. You don't pronounce me failure now. I don't understand.
Jago, if I may, you quoted something that is profound when you said, greater works
than
he did will do.
Yes.
It's not necessarily that we're going to do more than him in terms of the quality of, because he already set the tone. It is that those who were, evangelizing Christianity would go to a wider scope, which is a fact. You can see that Christ did not preach beyond Palestine of his time, Israel and Palestine of his time. He didn't go far, but his disciples and people who subsequently came forward have taken the gospel far and wide. That's part of the greater works. He was simply saying, people are going to go farther than me. Do you understand? And that's a fact. His apostles went farther. Paul that we're talking about went to places you can't even imagine. And contemporary ministry have also done the same. Now, is there anything anybody has done that Christ did not do necessarily? There have been people who have said they have raised the dead to life. He did that. Before Christ came, the dead were raised. Elijah raised the dead. Same with Elisha. If I'm correct, please, KJ and Tony. These are some of the greatest things you could say anybody can do, is to bring back somebody who is dead from the dead back to life. Those things are being done. And then, of course, the concept of faith, which Tony was going into, you understand? Because this thing is not a physical thing anybody is going to do. It takes the power of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
It's not your capability. Even, and that's why when we see certain people who are mutilating the gospel, I shudder, because you see people who reduce it to, this is my handkerchief. If I give you this handkerchief, this is going to happen. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's not so. But I always think that when you look at it from the concept and perspective of the spread of the gospel, to that extent, that particular word has been fulfilled and is still being fulfilled on a daily basis.
Okay. Can I say something? I will speak to those. I speak to part of what Jagun has said, and even to those who maybe like Jagun also who won't say, and even to me myself, because I'm not there yet. Now, this is how it works. You go to a bank, you only withdraw what you put in, even though there are a lot of money in the bank. The bank will not give you money that doesn't belong to you. That is also how prayer works. Now, the amount of pressure that you put on heaven is what gives you the result. But you must pay the price. That's the reason why certain people will say, I prayed for this person, he had a headache, it didn't go, but somebody just came and touched the head and the person was cured. because the person has paid the price. You cannot use the resources or the money for a Beetle to buy a Mercedes Benz. It doesn't work that way, except the grace of God. And in such a situation, some of your parents, some of your people, siblings have paid that price. Remember, Paul said to Timothy, now tap into what your grandmother Lydia has already done.
Yeah.
Because this is flowing in your system. And I want to say this, for those of us who want to know, man lives in a body, has a soul, and man is a spirit, lives in a body, has a soul.
So, yeah.
So each of the points in your life, one of these things are leading you. Are you somebody who is led by your flesh? If you are led by the body, you will continuously to only crave after things that of the body. You want to accessorize yourself with the things of the world. You want to look good, dress smart. And I'm not saying if you dress smart and look good and put, Gucci perfume means that you are being led by the body. No, you must make conscious effort to always fight against your flesh. The flesh likes good things. Before I got to where I got, one day I was praying. I said to God, "Oh God, why are you letting this? Why is my spirit? Why is my soul just pushing after? Why can't I stop certain things? Why is this soul, this body, this flesh so strong on us?" And I heard something that I've always shared with very close friends of mine. He said to me,
as you continue, please, there's a comment on the comment section. It would be good for us to consider later on from Dan Isaiah.
Okay.
You should take time, because I would love us to respond to some of the things.
Okay, we'll respond to that. Let me finish and say. And he said to me, the flesh, our flesh has no inheritance. I'm talking of teaching of the Holy Spirit to me. It's not written in the Bible. It says this flesh don't have any inheritance. Its inheritance is what it eats, what it drinks, and what it does here. At the expiration of the person's life, this flesh does not go anywhere. It returns back to the soil. While the soul continues, your spirit continues to wear the person who gave you life. So it does everything knowing that once it falls, it is over for it. That's why you sometimes craves after even the things you know will kill you. He's still craving for it. He wants it. He wants to enjoy. He wants to eat ice cream, do this, do that. He wants to do all the bad things that he knows that it's only benefiting to the flesh. So when we know how to mortify the flesh, then we'll be able to virtually train our spirit and our soul to align with the spirit and allow the Spirit of God to lead us. If that happens, my brother, I tell you, nothing anybody will put before you that will be anything to you, because you already know where it's going to. I will leave it at that.
Yeah. I think there's another issue that I think Jagun raised that maybe you would need to touch. And I think that has to do with, let me see, is it Jagun?
Yes.
I can't. Oh my God, I've forgotten. I thought I should have written it down. But if I remember it, I will come to it. But let me talk about this issue about keeping Sabbath. That I talked and Jim, also spoke about. You see, the feeling that if you don't keep the Sabbath, you go to hell or you make heaven is a misunderstanding of, first of all, you have to understand that the Old Testament is a shadow of the New Testament. And that in the New Testament, we are not walking by works. Okay, because people think that the reason why God gave you the 10 commandments is for you to make heaven. If you look, you can't keep those commandments. If you can go to heaven by keeping the 10 commandments, then Jesus didn't need to come, because that is works. And works will not take you to heaven. Scripture says clearly, by grace are ye saved, not by works, lest any man should boast. So you don't go to heaven. Some religions teach that, but you don't go to heaven because you have done good things. Some faith will teach you that God will look at your good and look at your bad. If your good is more than your bad, then you go to heaven. That's their teaching. But our understanding is that your righteousness, what you call your righteousness, is filthy rags before God.
Yes, sir.
They don't qualify you to go to heaven. What qualifies you to go to heaven is the price that someone paid for you, that through that, you see, when that victory that he attained for us, we are not accepted, confessed, and you believed in. Okay, so you are not fighting. When Paul says we wrestle not against flesh and blood, the wrestling is not a new fight because victory has been attained for you, but we are walking from victory, not walking to attain victory, because victory already has been won. So if you key into the victory, let me explain this. Now, if you look at your power, your electrical socket, okay, where you plug in your whatever, if you unplug your phone or whatever, okay, it doesn't charge anymore, but there's power. But it will not charge unless you plug into that power. Unless you plug in, when you plug in, whatever you plug in is energized. But the power remains dormant. Okay? It's there. It remains dormant until it is activated. Okay, so the power is there. Now I want to answer. Yeah, I think I remember. Power is there. You know, the dunamis is there, waiting for you to activate it by faith. Now, if you don't activate it, you can pray from now till tomorrow. Nothing's going to happen. But if you plug in, just like you do with your phone, you plug into the power, your phone begins to charge, and then you can make a call. Yep. So that's the connection. So if you plug into Christ through your faith and your belief, then you would see what he will do for you if you are in faith. So outside that, so I don't know if what I'm explaining makes sense. Okay, the power is already there. The authority has been given to you, but you have to activate it in faith. And if you activate it in faith, it's going to work for you. What you are going to see is an action. And when that action comes, you see a result. So that's what people don't understand. You know, so that is the problem that we have. Faith. Faith is the problem that we have. Doubt. Because the opposite of faith is doubt. So most of the time we doubt, even as believers, we doubt. We fear what people would say. What if I fail? Faith doesn't have to see it to believe. If he sees it, then it's not faith. It's not faith. If I can see what I'll become tomorrow, then why would I go to church? Why would I believe God? Why would I, if I know what I'm going to become tomorrow? So faith is something that God has put in there that you just have to believe. That when you take that step, it's going to lead you, you know, to a safe place. But you can't explain it. You can't rationalize it. Once you can rationalize it, then it's no longer faith. I don't know if I'm answering some of the things that you talked about.
Well, I mean, it's not that I'm necessarily. Well, I suppose I am looking for answers, but not necessarily from anybody, if you like. We're having a discussion.
Yes.
And in as much, I state my position. My position is that I'm a man of little faith, but I'm a believer.
Yeah.
No, I'm not here to pretend or muck around. I'm a man of little faith, to be honest. I'm a believer, however, a deep believer. And the power that the story, sometimes I even put it like this, the story of Jesus Christ, the power that is in that story, a lot of people, I know they don't understand it. We don't understand it. This kind of power, what is this? Because it puts up either to be gullible or to be faithful without result. You know, the story of the first two sons of life, which, sorry, my memory. Adam and Eve's children. Can you tell me the names quickly?
Cain and Abel.
Cain and Abel. Thank you. I don't know where it went, but it went. Anyway, Cain and Abel's story is a story that freaks me out, man. Now, I understand what everybody would say as to why God respected Abel and his gift rather than Cain. As a child with siblings, I understand that story to be killed, where children don't think of it. They think completely differently. And some of our brothers and sisters are absent-minded or less dutiful, or this or that. But it doesn't, I don't know, the way the story goes, it perplexes me as to, couldn't that scenario be handled differently? And you know, I'm not to say that, in that it's not my story. It's not my position to say differently from just my understanding. No, I'm not to do that. However, I have a serious problem with that story, given that there are different people in this planet. And if someone that needs to learn a lesson, maybe will learn it the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th time before he actually is able to grapple with what's being suggested by the law. I don't know. I mean, I'm wondering, does that perplex anything else? Are we totally au fait with that? Can we learn any further understanding with that story?
Okay, you see, I just wanted to cross-check my list. You see, that question also, and many more in the Bible seem to look like a contradiction, but it's not. Now, Cain was a farmer. In other words, he was a tiller of the ground, while Abel was a hunter, which means that he goes into the wild to get, he keeps all the, goats and all that, eventually hunts. But anyway, cutting the story short, Cain brought some of the things he gave was not as what, in fact, he was godly giving that. And some of the things he gave were not as good as the one that Abel brought. Abel chose the best of his fattings to give as offering. This other guy just took whatever he needed to give and gave it. Now, listen, and there's some people, one of the things I used to quarrel myself about is I used to ask God, why didn't you just tell him what he did? So he showed me why. He asked him, why are you angry? Why are you angry? If you did the right thing, wouldn't you be accepted? So he knew what the right thing was. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Cain knew what the right thing was, but he didn't want to do it because he was a greedy man. And some of us do that, It is so easy to just put whatever you whatever you think you can put. Because in somewhere in the Bible, God asked the children of Israel, you say, I'm your king. This thing, this lamb you are bringing to come and give offering, will you give it to your king? Some of them come there with, lamb that has one eye, or the broken leg and all that. He was asking them, if you are presenting to your king, your earthly king, will you give him this? If you are going to the Obi of Onitsha, will you take this kind of gift to him? No, you will look for a very healthy animal or the best of your crops and bring it to him. You don't just take anyone that you feel like, oh, the way you can do away with this one and then take it to the king of the Obi of Onitsha. You won't do that. So God is saying, if I'm your king, where is my honor? The honor you are bringing is to give the best of whatever you have. The best quality should be given to him. I'll give an example. When I understood this was once I had an event to attend with the president. Okay, I didn't understand it too. I just had, it was Obasanjo's time, and there was an event holding in Transcorp Hilton. Then it was Nikon Nuga. No. Now, as a pressman, we all should have entered, and those of you who work in this, you know what I'm talking about. You all should have been seated 30 minutes before the president came. But one of my crew members forgot something that is very important for that production. I had to leave. So when I left and I came back, I couldn't enter. Okay? And the security man told me, no, once the president is seated, nobody goes out, nobody comes in. I said, yeah, but you see, if I don't take this thing in here, this thing is not going to be heard because I hold a key, okay, for whatever is going to go on in there. And the guys will not be able to control themselves. These guys refused. Okay? And now if you know Transcorp Heat, you know that it has 2, 3 doors, one door this side, 1, 2 doors here, and then one on the other side, you know, the left side, the right side. I went to that right side, the same thing. So I now asked them, after many struggle to, you know, try to explain myself, and they said, no, the president is seated, you cannot leave, you cannot enter. The doors will not be open. The only person who will come out from here is only when the president stands up and is leaving that any other person can leave. So I had to look for the boss of the guy in charge of the security guys there. And I said, this is the situation we are in. He said, okay, you know what? Can I see your ID card? Can I see this? Can I see that? As I presented them, they now took me to the back of the stage to smuggle me in. Okay, so that event can go on. Now, why am I giving this excuse? Example. This is a human being. It's a human being. So imagine when God is seated, or when we are supposed to approach God, and we come anyhow, any which way. In fact, we can be chewing chewing-gum. In fact, we can even take our phone and be flipping through. But we can't do that when the president is sitting in your midst. When the president is sitting in your midst, you don't look through your phone. You can't even stand up. That's how bad it was. You can't stand up until the president said, okay, he has finished his speech and he's about to leave. Then when he leaves, every other person can go. So if we just oppose that what God is telling Ken on this issue, he said to him, even your president, you can't take this kind of thing to him. Why do you bring it to me? You know the right thing, do the right thing. But the guy refused. Okay? He refused. And then what was the next statement? He said, sin is knocking at your door. In other words, at this point now, you are not sinned, but what is coming into your mind right now is going to lead you to sin. And exactly that is what happened. And it's still happening till today in our modern days. Most times our conscience will warn us of the way we are going about things. We tell you, oh boy, this way you are taking is not the appropriate way, you know. But some of us ignore that. And some of us are dwelling in the part of bad that will no longer even have a conscience that can warn us. So I will leave it at that. But you see, what I'm trying to say...
Very good, very good. Well explained.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say is this. We can either accept to work with what our conscience tells us, or to say we are free moral agents. Man does not have anywhere outside of here. Supposing those of us who say there's no place like heaven, there's no place like hell, there's no place, man is just another form of inanimate object. Once it's done, it's done. Supposing you just leave this earth and you find out that there's somewhere called God, there's somebody called God, and there's somewhere called heaven, and there's somewhere called hell. What will be your reverse gear? That is my challenge for all those people who are making comments and say all kinds of things. What will be your reverse gear when you get to that point? I leave it at that. Thank you. Kim, go ahead, sir.
No, I don't really have any major thing to say now, other than what somebody was asking there. I think it was Dan Isaiah. You see, there's this mistake I think we make. We run with, it's like when people want to castigate Christianity, they pick the person who has done badly. And if you can remember, KJ, I'm not sure Tony used to come to the panel then when we were discussing what's his name, TB Joshua, and people were accusing, oh, this man, people do this and do that or do that. Why is it that because somebody is, you use what somebody has done wrong as a basis to blanket everything? I think it's a wrong way of looking at things. Someone says that we were talking about this whole, I want to read it very well so that I don't miss the point. Just give me a second. I'm scrolling down on it here. It said, Christ didn't open universities that the poor couldn't afford. Our pastors are doing great works, biggest auditoriums, private jets, fancy suits. Okay, let's take that.
Tony, you're not mute. You unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. There's something else that he wrote, Dan Isaiah. He says, what hope is there for those who aren't blessed? And for me, I underline that blessed with your intelligence and understanding, if that's what it takes to understand the love of God.
Can I add to that? Can I add to that before you carry on? This is another thing that I have contention with. In terms of, when I say contention, it means obviously I don't understand it fully, of which there are many things of the Bible and of Christian faith that I don't understand fully. This question, sometimes I think, and I think, and I think. And as we say, there are differences between all of us. And I always feel, what about those people who are dunce? And when I say dunce, I mean it in the best possible way, which is to say, you know, all of us are born with a brain. That is part of the equality of the human existence. And this brain, you know, we can teach it to think. We can teach it to do many things. But there are, I've come across, as we've all agreed, we've all gone through the school system, and we have met people who are truly not academic in any way. Now, it's not that they can't learn or relearn. It's not that they had the best of parents or the worst of parents. It's not this. It's within themselves. Their understanding is very different than everybody else, or for them to think past problematic issues is very difficult for them. What do we do about these people when, for real, if your understanding is lacking, you're kind of in trouble on this earth. On this earth, you're in trouble. Firstly, you know, to get a job of being a lawyer or a doctor, you know, these things, you got to have some nous. You've just got to. So for you to want to be a doctor or a lawyer and not having the nous to be that thing, that is going to hinder you from achieving your goal. So add that, my brother, to how you're going to answer this question.
Okay, thank you so much. I will answer your question this way. Jagu, you are right now in your room, but I want you tomorrow morning just go outside and look at nature. Just look at the nature around you. You know, one time I had the same contradictions. I was saying, you know, because I'm reading, you know, through some part of the Bible, how to go through all those homiletics and all those exegesis. I was saying, must I understand Hebrew before I understand the Bible? And one day I was somewhere in the street, I was driving, and the Spirit of the Lord said to me, look outside. I looked outside, and he said to me, as much as I'm in the difficult thing, that's in the deep things, I'm also in the what? In the easy things. Okay, God is in the simpleness of nature. It's simple. It's out there. He doesn't have. You don't need to be a soothsayer to be able to understand God. No, understand the simple things and how He operates. And as you understand the simple things and how He operates, God will give you an understanding as you begin to go. If you really, that's your preference. Because it's not everybody who's going to be a prophet, an apostle, a seer, and all that. There are other people who are just like Mary. They are simply a virgin. In other words, they have no understanding beyond just being a worshiper of God. They are just simply they just love God. They don't want to know anything deeper than that. The love for God is enough for them, and that is how it is. The story of the 10 virgins doesn't mean because they are virgins. No, because they are people who do not have deeper understanding of the things of God. God uses everybody. In the in the presence of God, there are vessels of honor and vessels of order. They say you choose which one you want to be. God is so open. He's so open to understand, and it's so easy to follow. Don't make it, because the burden that we're already carrying, Christ have taken that over from us. And somebody made a very interesting comment. Why does God? Sorry, I'll put it together. Please, why does God want us to give up what we love the most to pray to prove our love for Him? Do you know that Sarah died from the shock of thinking about Abraham going to sacrifice Isaac. No, that's not true. That's not true. And in fact, when I was, when I was serious in the movement, this is one of the questions that tore the church apart once. A pastor got up and said, we say we should tell our wives everything. If Abraham had told Sarah that he was going to use Isaac for sacrifice, would that obedience have been complete? I leave that for you guys also. If he had said to her, because sometimes you see when you go to this Oyibo, when they confuse all of us, they will say, no, you must come in agreement with your wife before you do anything. The question is, if you had come in agreement with Sarah, would she have allowed Abraham to take Isaac? From which, remember, Abraham and Isaac is a typology of Christ, of what was to come. Okay? So if he had told her, Sarah, this your picking where they wait for 90-something years now, I won't go kill him. Will that have been fulfilled? The answer is no. So it's not every time. You must deal with people with wisdom. That's what the Bible says, deal with all men in wisdom. So wisdom is the principal key in some of these things that we're talking about. But let's start from the primary before we are graduates, because everything has a gradual process. Understand?
KJ, that the person who asked the question is asking another one, I'm not the one answering. Please help me answer. He's calling me out when we are the one speaking.
He's been asking so many questions. And he's even talked about being an atheist, but being a good person, being an atheist. Whether that
so what's the next one about being a good person? That is two Nigeria's brain cell is what saying that word.
So in being a good person, it's not by morality. Really, okay? It's not by morality. My father was a Catholic before he passed. All right, I was, like some people come here and think, someone made a comment. If Islam had come through Port Harcourt, we would all be Muslims now. No, we will not be, because some of us go to a point where we need to discover ourselves for ourselves. That's why we got to where we are. I already said my story here. My mother is still, till tomorrow, she's still a 7 days Advent. And she may know the 7 days Advent. It's the one that is in Badia that she goes to. She still goes from there from my village to Chin village to go and attend that's only where 7 days is in that locality. Okay? My father was a Catholic. He said he's a chaplain till the day he passed. I led my father to Christ. Okay? Because I felt that since he's old now, he will need this repeating this. And I did lead him to that. But he was a Catholic. Now, why am I saying that? You must come to a place where you, as a man or a woman of stature, will ask yourself, what is it that I need out of life? When you get to that point, then you discover why you want to change your life or you don't want to change your life. And that's a pertinent question all of us need to ask ourselves. Okay? Let's not accept what you see. Let me say something. Let me confess, this thing. I have been trying to do a PhD. Okay? But I'm even concerned of what I read. I'm even concerned because I will just discover that some of the things they've written for us who have swallowed good work and say are not even true. Majority of these things they just hook us up into it and we keep mouthing it, only for us to come to Europe and say, look, this is what we are told. This is not right. They themselves are not practicing it. How many people are graduates in America who are top managers of companies? But they make us waste all our youth going to school, PhD. We need to look for how to write papers and publish books so I can become professors. How many are they who brought the book to us? How many are there? How many? Will you see an American company doing well? They are 5 generations. All the 5 generations are working in one company. That company is still existing. That's why their children are working. They're not going to school. You go there every day, you see the children working in those places, building wealth for themselves. Then you make our young men at the time of our youth. We spend all our youth going to school and reading books written by people who don't even know whether they're telling us the truth. So this is what we must. We. It's not anybody. That's why I said to us, our development in Nigeria lies in our hands. We must come together and tell ourselves. By the way, why are we not even reading Nigerian books? Why are we reading the ones written by other people? We quote other writers from all around the world to show that we are vast in understanding, but we don't know the next door neighbor. The ones written by Amechi, what's his name now? Alechi, Alechi Amadi.
Elechi Amadi.
Alechi Amadi. We don't know that one. We don't know. We don't know the writers called Kalokwi. We don't know the ones called what's this other guy? The space stars. Okay. We don't know those ones. Balamisha and the yeah. So we must tell ourselves which way do we want to go. That is what we must tell ourselves. It's not about religion right now. It's about finding yourself, discovering yourself, and making a way to live out your life in the way that you will be happy about it, and your spirit will be happy about it. Because once you can reconcile your spirit with your soul, you live a more happier life, more fulfilled life, more life that you are not struggling to be like any other person, but just to be yourself. That is what's out there, and that is what we must. It doesn't matter how much you're making. It doesn't matter. Let me say this. There are some people. You go to a community, you see a man living with his wife. They live in a very small room, but every day you hear them laughing, and it's not because they have so much. You'll be wondering, why these people always laughing? They're always laughing. They eat whatever they can eat, and they are happy with it. Now, if all of us can appreciate life that way, we'll see Nigeria will be better, because we don't have any reason to steal, to buy Rolls Royce and drive around Abuja and tell people, so what? I bought a Rolls Royce, and so what? And so what? These are the problems. I rest my case there. I don't know. Welcome, One Africa and Revolution. Or except Jabu wants to say something, we'll go to One Africa. All right, One Africa, you are welcome.
Hello, everybody. It's good to be back here. Jim, KJ, everybody. Tony, Revolution now, my guy. Dagon.
One Africa, what did you eat this afternoon? This is the way you're talking like one big man.
I'm a big man now.
He has joined APC.
The renewed hope agenda. It's being renewed in Cotonou right now. So I know, like, I just joined in the middle of the whole gist, but I just wanted to comment on Seun Kuti. I think that was the thing before we went, Fela. Seun Kuti is, for me, and I heard many people praising him. I think he's just a privileged kid, just like other privileged kids, right? His father made a name, which we are grateful, to know Fela as a person. He was one of the inspirations I got to start learning about, what was happening, the truths about imperialism and all that. But I'll tell you, Seun Kuti, for me, is not different from IBB's children or Abiola's children. They just, I've not seen him put out his own anything unique or anything he could say that is his own. It's just my father, my father. It just, so personally, I had the time where everybody was asking questions. I wanted to come online, but I just said, no, it's not worth my time. And I think people just attributed, we miss Fela so much that we needed somebody to just pour the accolades, and he's there to receive it and embrace it, talking about the female part of him and male part of him, and calling it Africanism, and, calling it, what are we talking about? And people are looking at this young man, insulting our tradition. You come to my village and say you have a female and male part as a man, and you're putting nail polish, and you say this is African, come on,
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yeah, please.
Thank you. I understand your take on Fela, Seun, but I have to ask this, because I've done a study on Nigeria as to why the transfer of monies, of wealth, from one generation to the next is highly discontinuous in Nigerian circumstances. And I look at my own family first, and then I looked at families across rich families who were wealthy, and then the next generation were not wealthy. And I ask you, do you know how difficult it is, or do you appreciate the difficulty of the transfer of wealth in Nigerian circumstances, and how you build a legacy in family? I'll just put that to you first.
Yeah, I'm going to answer it in the context of Femi Kuti, and I'm going to use Ziggy Marley to answer that question. We know Ziggy Marley is not as talented as his father, like not even his feet, as Bob Marley. But the only reason we really listened to him or listened to him at all was because of his father. So it's not like, Femi, Seun Kuti, is not, I don't think anything transferred to him per se. He's just a privileged kid. I don't think any of us are going to be able to hear the children of Seun Kuti sing Afrobeat. It usually dies with that generation, the next one. I think there's no way IBB's children will be poor, right? Because they've stolen so much money or whatever. He's a famous guy, whatever. IBB was president in Nigeria for about 8 years. You don't expect his children to be poor. There's no way you expect the children of Bob Marley to be poor or the children of Fela Kuti. It's not possible. But after that generation, the question is what happens? So I'm not sure if that helps to answer that question in any way. But I don't think what transferred is just maybe a little bit of the glory. I don't think any other is anything. I don't know one song that Seun sang. Like do you know any song by Seun Kuti?
No.
Anybody?
No, I don't know.
I've heard them. I've heard them because I listen to them.
I know, but do you know any?
I take your point.
Yeah, because we can all sing Fela's music till this show ends today and start tomorrow again. So these are the famous people, but he comes online and tells people how to behave and tells people, and he dishes conspiracy theory, and people are taking this guy seriously. His elder brother, actually had something original to say. He decided to divert away from the kind of music, not 100% for his father, and he made a name for himself. What's his name again? The big guy. Femi, yeah. Femi Kuti is, you could see at least his style. He had 1 or 2 hit tracks that we know. But, the other Seun is just, you see them in your high school, the sons of rich men who are like harassing other people, telling them what to do. And the whole glory dies down. I'm not sure, inviting him to the show. Well, it's okay. At least we got a little bit of Fela's breath. But I don't think, if you see anything in him that inspires you, well, good, But if you listen to his father, just the songs that his father gave us, we're grateful for this guy. And, this guy was one of the people, if you look, okay, let's look at the example. Fela criticized everybody. He did. There was no, this session he said Tinubu is his political mentor. And people are taking this guy. He's there. He said his videos are there. He said Tinubu is his political mentor. And people are, and then he comes, I'm criticizing Tinubu too. I'm criticizing everybody. I'm not taking that guy serious. Anyway, I just wanted to, I know, trust me, I love this religious discussion. I like to jump in. Sorry to drag you guys away from it. And I'll be able to go in and say my own bits. But I just wanted to know if anybody knows what's really happening in Cotonou, in Benin Republic. Because they said there was a coup. They said, they removed the putschists. The next thing they said Nigeria is sending military to Kotonou. I thought people shouldn't be sending military to other countries. What's going on? So we are now protecting French interest in Cotonou. And people will come out here and be saying, oh, we're protecting which. I really want to hear people's opinions so I can start seeing people where they belong in the scheme of things. I really, really want to hear people's opinion about it, because this Tinubu will bring all of us. He will remove our clothes in the market, and everybody, by the time he will X-ray everybody, and everybody will, all the older men, they are showing themselves. He will do he go scatter everywhere before he come out, this man. But I want to hear other people's opinion about what's going on in Benin, because this one, I don't think anybody expected it. For us to go and intervene to keep France, Macron, that is looking for a way to escape from his country, that poverty wants to kill. They want to continue to be in Cotonou, and people want to help their people out. And Tinubu is going to have to bomb them so that France can maintain their business. And the man even came online to say that he called, these people are insulting us. But go ahead.
Now my turn?
Yes, actually.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Just respect to everybody, like always. I know many people will say my views are always like a person who don't know where they go, but no problem. We continue to say we are living in this world. So, and I won't say everything the way every people say it, I just want to applaud my brother who just spoke about what Seun was telling us, that my beautiful sister asked some question. I didn't even see it because I was watching, but I didn't notice that he painted his finger, and she asked him a very good question. Does that thing you painted, what is it? Does it mean anything? Are you a bisexual? Because the people no, let us look at it properly. I live in Sweden, where there's freedom of anything can have men marry men here. And then when you see somebody, a man, painting the fingers, it shows sexual, there's a linkage there. It's not just something anybody go just come painting finger. And then the brother started explaining his female parts, feminine parts, and masculine parts. I was just stunned. I said, oh boy, Kuku, come straight now. Tell us straight if you did for both sides. It's allowed. Yeah, I tell you, it's allowed. But come straight. Make we know say, now there you stand. But he just talk and he say we be fools. After he jump him over, come jump into the second question. I thought that you brought up a very good topic for people who are condemning the white people, the Europeans, because when anytime they come, they condemn Europeans, culture, everything. But painting fingernails is not African culture, for crying out loud, no matter where you come from. Anybody will say in culture they do and make una tell me. So I stand to be corrected on that. I've never seen it anywhere. You see? So secondly, I was enjoying the theological parts, which they talk about Christ and religion. But let me give my opinion about religious people. I was born into a religious family. I'm the outcast of that family because right from child, because I started seeing religious people right from time. Hypocrisy. You will see somebody they tell you, say they go church. If you do business of 2 naira, he go cheat you. If you complain, they go say, don't worry, now your brother, you don't have another brother. Or you give money to your mama, you go take and go buy lace and ashwebi. When you talk, they say, I bet now your mama, biko, rapia, or mama na you go swallow. Then you come out to the street again, see the pastors and the so-called celebrity pastors. The other day I saw that arm robber way day for Winners Chapel. He was moving with convoy. I can't say na Akpabio one come as small time I see say na that bros come and say, so these people too get convoy like this. So what are they teaching us? You understand? And secondly, this educational system of Nigeria will destroy today. I don't know the Muslim people how they do their own, no. But now the Christians of Nigeria, especially those of this South, now they spoil our school system in that country. Make una ask me why. Do you know that when they open their church, where they open, the next thing where they go open a school, and they go back to the government school where their partners, the politicians, refuse to pay them. They will take the best teachers from that public school, take and transfer them to their own private school where poor man no go fit go. You understand me? So when they talk about religion, KJ, sorry, I don't say you are religious. I don't know you are the attack. But I go to ask myself, because I hear somebody they talk about, say, heaven and earth. We don't argue and tire for corner. Who go that heaven, come back, tell us, say, na so it be. Because when I go, they accuse the 7 virgins where they wait for the Muslim, where they take kill innocent people. And they ask Christians too, who don't go that heaven, come back, tell us, oh boy, behave well, oh, because if you die, you will go heaven. Because if you check and well, all these our politicians, every Sunday you go see them for church. Our brother, Mr. Nwike, we plane be like say breeze blow the plane. He begins shout Jesus, oh Jesus, Jesus. After I go give thanksgiving for church, after I don't destroy. So when they talk about religion sometimes, I would ask myself, my brother, am I doing wrong? I mean, the devil who will make me no one go that church. But the people where they go, I know they see anything where they miss. That is the question I want to ask.
Revolution. Can I answer because I want to leave now?
I finished. Thank you, KJ and brothers, for giving me the chance to make my noise.
Okay, revolutionary. I understand your point. The 2 areas I want to mention is you mentioned. First of all, there is a difference between being religious and be serving God truly. It's not about being religion. It's not about what you show per se. And Tony has been emphasizing this since we started talking. When it comes to what human beings are doing as a basis to measure what is the real thing, we need to be very careful. So nothing is new under the sun. I hope you know that. You don't get anything where maybe me and you they do now where people never do before. People have been doing this. People keep repeating the same cycle. It's just a fact. I will try and answer your question with this little illustration. So I don't know how much of Bible you don't read though. So you get king where they call Ahab. Ahab wanted to go to war. And another king visited him called Jehoshaphat. He visited him. And he convinced that Jehoshaphat to join him to go and fight this war. But before Jehoshaphat agreed, Jehoshaphat said, come, but make we find out whether God really wants to make we go fight this war. And the man now assembled all kinds of pastors and priests. Okay. They came, all of them, prophesying that, they should go to the war. If they go for that war, they will be victorious. Joshua said, come, what is with this people they talk? They reach my body. Is there no real man of God that we can find this thing out from? Look, take my note, say real. Otherwise, he could see through those people that these are charlatans. And then Ahab answered him and said, yes. Well, there is one. But that man not ever say
they talk good of me.
About me. He not ever say anything good about me. Take note of my words. He not they ever say anything good about me. So in other words, he didn't want to hear the truth. He wanted to hear what was good to him. That's the same thing happening with our modern day politicians, whether they're in the US, UK, Nigeria, Sweden, anywhere. People want to hear good. It hard. In fact, we've been taught in modern discussion, the sandwich approach. Say what is good, then embellish it with what is bad, then you close it with what is good.
Now, so they do have syndrome. Now they call them the sickness of Nigerians.
So why I'm saying this is because if you are somebody who is a straight shooter, life will leave you. They're not going to like you. People not going to invite you to come event because they go to this guy, they did too hard. It's too much. So, but at the end of the day, they brought that other man. Before they brought him, the person who went to bring him, tell and say, guy, when you reach there, no go to talk nonsense. So everybody don't talk good. No say when you go reach there now, you go begin talk your own. So he kept quiet. When he landed in front of the man, they asked him, he can't join the crowd. Say, okay, King, go well. The battle go well. Now King told him, say, guy, make you know they lied to me. I never tell you, say, make you know they lied to me. And then he said, okay, you want to hear the truth? And he told him the truth. After saying the truth, what did the king say? The king said, Joshua, you see, I'm not telling you, say this man don't like say good thing about me. So, listen, the point I want to make revolutionary, don't look at all these people you are seeing. Carry this Bible, read them. If you believe them, live your life according. If you believe,
let me cut in before you land that final point.
Okay.
This is exactly what Una they always tell us. I have a sister.
Who be this
one? Wait, now make I just give you now. Now that place Una they take things so Una go feel full us. Una go tell us say make we forget the people where we they see where they mess up. Make we just go our own. Just to God. Now so my sister they tell me. Person where be say if they talk of hypocrisy, na her character. If they talk of badness, na her character. If I come, then you go, they ask me, like if you not call me for 2 years, one day you can't call me. The first thing where you go ask me, I tell her, say, Sister G, can you now you come now, you see as you want to end the story. Make I carry Bible they read. Make I forget.
No, revolutionary. See, just wait the same way you kind of look church people and those pastors. Now the same way if you look society, you get people where you go work for, honest people where you go work for, they go pay your salary. You get people where you go work for, they go owe you salary. All business entrepreneurs no be bad people. Same way when they come to politicians, you and I they see them now. You get politicians where they go there, do within day right, but you also get bad people. The bottom line of the whole thing is, I'm trying to let you know, is this: as long as we human beings did this world, you go meet bad people, you go meet good people. It depends on you to be able to open your eyes to say, this one will be a good person. I don't want to follow this kind of person.
Tim, I don't open my eye. You know how I tell open my eye? I know good and bad. And now the good that they do. Not be church or Bible go tell me to do good. Now they try to tell you. But thank you for the answer. Me, I want to go, I they work, they call me. Una do well, oh. I go they enjoy Una from background. Thanks a lot.
KJ, can I say something real quickly, if you don't mind? Yeah, I just looked at the comment section and some people were like, I always bring bad news. I don't follow the norm. I'm always against. Let me say something. Look, and I didn't want to say this because I know people have their own lives to live. Look, I'm going back to Seun Kuti. Look, people can say some good things and say some bad things, but what do they represent? Fela was a revolutionary. We know what he represented, and we knew his bad parts. We forgave all the bad parts. It's not like Fela was a perfect person. It's like people who bring Nnamdi Kanu and say he was a saint. From where? He has bad parts, good parts. Even Tinubu has something good that he does. The point is this, who would want his child, who raise his child to be like Seun Kuti? He's not a role model for anybody. Even when I saw him on it, he looked like he was high. Didn't you see him? This someone who's smoking. And every time we are idolizing the Chinese for all the technological prowess they are making, STEM and all that. People are making progress. Some people are talking about male and female and smoking Igbo. What's that? How is that revolutionary? How is, if you continue to do that, the world will leave you behind. We're talking about people who encourage our children and our grandchildren to take the next step to catch up with AI, to catch up with all the things that are going on with chips, with, how do we move? And people are, just, come on. Everybody, just tell yourself the truth. You've seen this guy. How many times? We need to keep role models for our children. It's not Seun Kuti. Please, nobody should tell me that. Thank you.
Okay, Odi, you maybe.
Tony, sorry. Can I say something before I leave, please?
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
I said I was referring to Seun Kuti as sir, and what a shame. Who I call the janitor in my office, sir. I called the janitor in my office, sir. I called the lady janitor. I said, ma'am, I greet her. No, I don't say janitor. Good day, sir. Good person, sir. Sir has nothing to do with where I place you intellectually or whatever. It's simply just a way of respect. If I choose to respect Seun Kuti and call him a sir, it's my prerogative. There's nothing wrong with it. I totally disagree. I usually don't respond to those comments, but I just felt like I won't let you get away with that stupidity. Good night, guys.
Yeah, good night.
Alaba is there. You should come online now. Not be Idefia. Come online. You come. He's there hiding in the comment section. Come.
Odi, if you worry about what is written about you in the comment section, you just run blood pressure. People have a right to say whatever they think. I was in a platform yesterday, and we're talking about this insurgency in Nigeria, and I was trying to classify the various patterns and manifestations. If you see all the abuse that abuse me, that insurgency is insurgency, this. But I was trying to point out the fact that if you look at various places all over the country, they have different manifestations. I don't know whether maybe I didn't make myself very clear, but I'm saying that if you look at the character, in some regions, there's a way that there are certain things they do. There's a way they perform. There are places where they wipe off communities. There are places where they just take women, take young girls and take them to the bush. There are places where you have kidnapping somewhere and all that, So as I was trying to analyze and trying to pinpoint some of the underpinning factors that may be influencing this thing, because it's different from region to region. I just came, I was insulted. Only one person, as I was reading, only one person consistently kept on saying, no, that Tony is saying the right thing. Tony is saying the right thing. Tony is anyway. But, in the entire abuse and everything, people were coming in and blasting, but they didn't let me explain what I was saying. But, but if you get carried away, if you have a right to express your views, okay? This place it's not a contest for who Sabi book pass or who no book, or no, it's not. We are all learning, we're all sharing knowledge. When we see superior argument, we take it because we want to learn. That's what this platform is. And when people make assumptions that we think are not correct, people come in to say, no, I don't think this is right. Because people are learning, people are listening to us, we're on air. So I think that's the basis. But when you begin to reduce it to personal animosity, to attacks and ethnic and religious bigotry, that's when, the entire thing becomes, just like, infradig, below pedestrian, So don't worry about what people say. There are also people who are saying good things about you. So everybody cannot say, if people don't say bad things about you, then watch yourself, there's something wrong.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It wasn't about it's just that Alaba is, one of the panelists here, to hide in the comment section and through, I'm just calling him out. I'm not worried about the other. What I'm saying is it's easy for people to come out here and say, I like China. I like us to be China. But if Seun Kuti lives in Beijing, they will arrest him now. He won't be, they will take him out of society.
Let me tell you the truth.
Because China doesn't want people like him. Right? Let me tell you, am I wrong? They don't want people like him. Is it to say, oh, we want to build it? Because it's not going to build them the next AI. It's not going to encourage their children in maths, in STEM. It's nothing. He just be there and showing them how smoke blowing. China, they don't want that. Come on.
I didn't listen to him, even though I didn't listen to him. Honestly, I have my personal reasons why I didn't listen to him. But there must be a reason why Dr. Damages brought him to the platform. There must be a reason.
He's opening a political party. You see, I think critique is all very well. Critique isn't a problem. I critique a lot, and I'm extremely opinionated. I know this about myself. However, I like being able to defend my opinions. I don't just have them wafting and wafting out of my head. The things that stick into my mind have been heavily evaluated before I utter them. When looking at someone like Seun Kuti, I think we have to understand the type of person he is and what it is to be that type of person. I think a lot of us, however, my great grandparents, my grandmother's brother was a multi-billionaire in the 1920s. I have pictures of all kinds of levels that he attained. I met him before he died. The way he didn't lose his money before he died is after he died, his second wife stole all the money. And I was wondering, how could my parents allow this madness? What was this? I met the girl before she died, the woman who married my great. And she was almost like my age. She was a few years older than me. I thought, is this the girl that this whole family allowed to steal and kill? The fact of the matter is, money, like any other level of talent, ambition, or of jewel that remains in your family. But this thing is heavily attacked. As you know, Fela was heavily attacked throughout his life. So much so that the trauma of his attack affected the older brother, Femi, affected him. Femi is not weak, but he's soft. He doesn't like pain, and he doesn't want to entertain gra-gra. Whereas the younger one is more like his old man. And the gra-gra of life, he would deal with it as best he can. The way we judge people, I think sometimes is harsh. We're judging them like they're not human beings, like they don't have, frailties, human existence. They don't carry love. They don't carry misunderstanding. And I don't think we can judge people like that as though we're more than human beings. I am telling you that to come from money or to come from fame, even worse, it is difficult for that child to assume himself, him or herself, into themselves and not try to be their father or their mother, whichever is more famous. So again, Nigerians, we do this thing that is so typical of us, typically Nigerian. We can't even see that that's how we're behaving. How difficult do you know it? How difficult do you think it would be to be a Kuti child, differently from a child of Babangida? To be a child of Babangida, you can just hide. You have your family, you have your friends, and you can just hide the rest of your life. To be a famous musician's child, it's not easy. And then you are surrounded by all kinds of temptations. And then you still have to make something of yourself. This person that we are calling Seun, he's gone all around the world. He's set up about 15 different bands in Brazil, in Trinidad, in places where they value Afrobeat in its real sense. All these bands, they're very, very talented, good. I always felt that if during Fela's time there were more people playing similar Afrobeat as his, there would have been a revolution of consciousness. So much so that Nigerians' psyche would be different today. But the psyche of Nigerians is a toy. It's like playing. It's nothing to take seriously most of the time. It's, again, the legacy of Nigeria is the level of education people in Nigeria have. That's our only legacy. That's our only legacy. And then because of the way that legacy works, it's very individualistic. Yet we are communal people. So already there's a difference in how we're going to see it. The difference between the way my parents think and the way I think.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever seen Seun Kuti criticize people before?
I have.
Do you think he's a typical Nigerian in every sense? Actually, worse than the Nigerian you're describing? Because when he criticizes people, he removes their soul from them. We just gave him a little bit of piece of his medicine. Now, look at what we're getting.
I accept what you're saying. I too, as much as I want to, I don't want to boast that I'm not the kind of Nigerian like everyone else. I don't want to boast that. That is not a boast for me necessarily. It's just an observation that I know I'm different. I think differently. I come to different conclusions. But I am a typical Nigerian at the same time. I remember a Jamaican lady said to me, with this accent I'm speaking, she said, you speak so Nigerian, she said. I goes, what do you mean? You're a Nigerian. I goes, yeah, I know I'm a Nigerian, but I'm not typical. She goes, no, you're typical. I goes, what tells you that? She said, you're confident to the point of boasting, but you don't boast. You never boast, but you're confident to that level. I said, is that who Nigerians are? She said, yes. So I have to read it from her critique about me. Whilst I'm pointing my finger, there are fingers pointing back at me. All I'm trying to say.
Let me ask you one more question as you're, reeling out your point. Would you want a Seun Kuti as a leader, like to become like president of Nigeria? Do you think he will run Nigeria as a country well?
More than Seun Kuti, his father.
No,
wait, Ejo, please. I'm saying his father because I valued what his father had to say politically. However, I wouldn't necessarily want him as a president. And this is my man. I won't really want my fella as the president of that country. I would prefer,
personally, so revolutionaries don't make good leaders necessarily.
I agree with that.
Fela Kuti, you know what killed Fela Kuti, right? We know it's also the disbelief in science at the time. So we loved him for everything. That's why we say he's not like a perfect man. It was his refusal to accept science and that's what led to his demise. So to say, oh, Fela Kuti will make a good, Nigeria will go to this. Well, I love Fela Kuti too much that I can't come. It will dishonor everything I love to even criticize him in public. So I can't do that. Not because of his son, no matter what his son said. But I'm just saying, his movement of the people is criticized from his Fela's gig. It's like joke. He sang about MOP. And this guy now coming, are we joking here? Everybody's like, let's go and smoke ganja.
Well, I don't think it's fair how we critique people in Nigeria genuinely.
But you got to tell him first, he's the number one critic.
Ross, I've heard you and I understand what you're saying. What I am saying is that somebody like him, we need to take our time in our critique. I used to listen to his older brother. I've seen his older brother on stage and he performs well. He doesn't perform anywhere near Fela himself. And then I look at his antecedents as to how he brought up his family, his dislike of ganja and all this kind of thing. And I can appreciate where he comes from. The trauma that he went through, he speaks about it openly in terms of, boy, when the police used to come and break up things in the yard, I knew that they were prepared to kill us. That was my life, he said. That was my life every day. He spoke about these things. We don't think about this. And from a child's point of view and what it means to that child to be regularly attacked by the grand authorities. We're harsh. I'm harsh. I know I am. But I don't want to speak for myself in such a way that balances it, because I know I'm harsh. But I'm not harsh with my kids. I'm not harsh with kids. They love me. All my nephews and nieces, they love me more than anyone else in the family, because I know what it is to be a child. I know what it is to be a Nigerian child. So I speak to them. And when I speak to them, it touches them. It touches them. I've been through it. I've been through it, and I remember it. All Nigerians are traumatized. Well, we don't know. All Nigerians are traumatized. And when you listen to them, all of us, you can hear the traumatic experiences that each of us have gone through. Pressure, 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 every single day. When I was a child, I was just waiting. I used to wait. It was within weeks, that I'll find myself in big trouble again. I'll be in major trouble all over again. After I get over this sort of trouble, I'll become sheepish for a while. I'll be doing JJ up and down the place until I have to be myself again. That being myself was the thing that was putting me in trouble. But as I grew, I became more and more myself, not less and less. To somebody else, they will become less and less themselves. It's just the luck of the draw, how we take this pressure. This pressure that we're under. We seek solace all over the place to become Islamic, to become Christian, to become this or that. It's like you can't stay still. Today, in today's world, which is like 2 generations down, not my generation, the generation beneath me, and beneath that, Gen X, as they're calling them, those guys are growing up with a different kind of confidence as to what it is to be Nigerian. And I don't believe that we're necessarily helping that generation, because largely we don't know how to. Largely we have never thought about it, because that's how we are. We're sometimes get to the point where thinking just goes out of our minds. Me, I think every day, every night. I think till I can't think anymore. And I do that. I ask my friends questions about their thoughts and how they look about things. It's nothing like a Nigerian's. It's nothing like ours. So much so that the Oyimbos today in England, they know who a Nigerian is compared to whoever else a black person is, because they can see the difference. They see the training. They see the level of non-negotiation when it comes to the fact that this is my right in this country. They've seen it. They've seen the trauma. They've seen the discipline. And then they see the results, what we're able to result and how we result. They've seen these things. We hardly know it. Why? Because we're pretty crushing each other down. What I crush down is unfairness and unjust and hate. There are too many people on this platform that carry hate, things that I've forgotten about. They're coming and remembering it and then listening. Oh, you was the one who... Rubbish. Who respects that? Rubbish. All you're doing is telling me that you're emotionally deficient. You're telling me that you can critique, but you can't take critique. You're an idiot, as far as I'm concerned. Ugly person. Ugly inside and out. You know, as again, I can speak like this freely. Because why? Do you know why? Because I've been spoken to like this. I've been spoken to like this all of my life. There's nobody who can challenge me in the street. From when I was a child in this London, no one could challenge me in school, in primary school, secondary school, uni. None of them. I broke them down, including teachers, because I became defiant. Who are you talking to? Who do you think I am? Do you think I'm somebody that doesn't contain love? I speak like this is how I speak, because that's how people want to. They want to speak to me as though I'm not a human being. Are you out of your mind? Oh, you're not being polite enough. Will you F off? Will you go away about not being polite enough? Polite to what? To the rudeness that you're offering me. I'll be, you don't understand how rude you are. Somebody will come on the platform, boom, she will start talking. Nobody's asked her to speak. She'll just take the authority. She doesn't know that's rude. And that a man can't listen to a woman like that. Who are you talking? How can you come and crash the place? Where did you learn that from? Where did you learn that from? That's not how my mother behaves. That's not how my mother behaves. Another one would critique my mom to say that I'm the person who I'm the person from a family who left their children with other people. My mother never did that once, but she had the nous to have the gall to utter what my parents are. If she was in my presence, the slap that she would have received from me, she would have known that I can't contain that kind of rubbish. Who are you talking to? I'm not here as a gimmick. I'm not here as a gimmick. I've lived life. a lot of life. Nigeria, as everybody knows here, has the power to change the whole world. Everyone, all of us know this. But somehow, to come to levels of agreement, we can't do it. We can't do it. Why can't we do it? Has anyone tried to ask or answer that question? I won't take up much of your time. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, thank you so much. I think at this point, John Cho, Uzo, you are here. You have not spoken. Diaspora voting. You are here too. So let Uzo go. Then after that, we'll listen to diaspora voting.
Every time I come in, this guy with big beard that's going to say that everybody will come in. Let him speak first.
Uzo!
Whenever I come in, you see him, you show up. Is he following him all over the place?
You see you following me now. You came last. I was saying
okay. All right. So I listened to a little to our person, the girl showing up. I didn't even know, like, I didn't get anything he was saying though. That's me. I know him when he was young. Everybody know that this is Fela in making. Damn, his the senior brother. What's his name?
Femi.
Femi. People know that when he was little, this is a fella that came back to life. But the way he's going, man, I don't think he have anything like 50% close to what the legend prophet have spoke about. I don't think it's close. Fela came the world that was no internet. He still part his message. Now there's internet, I don't see the message we hear. The message we hear is the MOP, Movement of the People, which I know that it's his father's idea, which didn't come to pass, you know. So, but if you're able to get that, get that in place, you know, I don't even think that INEC will even allow him to even register that party. You know, INEC, the decision maker. So I know somebody asked him what about Bashore, yeah. Even though I wanted to answer him, even if the idea you have is not what Sharia party has, all right? Can you just give out and follow up? Because if every idea I have is the way I want people to behave, we are going nowhere. All right, you have to group up some things and accommodate some things. That's the way it should be done. I'll tell you, if Seun with VDM, with other people, with the kind of support they have, the youth support they have, I work with Shore. I know that some of Obido will key in. They will take Nigeria by storm. But at this ready to come together, the way it is, if VDM uses the way it is right now, Seun key in, Shore key in, Obido movement key in, some. I tell you, they will take Nigeria by storm. But I don't need to key in. The ideology is not according to him. But you have to draw some things. You don't have to get everything you want. If you can get 50% of what I'm thinking, then everyone can put here together to work it out. But if you think that my ideology is not your ideology, so it's not going to work, we are moving no place. But I tell you, if they can, these three people I call their name, they can, you know, drop whatever they want to become. You know, I'm key on one person, they will make it. I just imagine Seun, president of Nigeria, how is it going to stand for everybody here? Seun, president of Nigeria, how's it going to look like? You know, how's it going to look like? You know, so that's my point. So they should key in under one umbrella. If they want the betterment of Nigeria, they should key in under. If everybody looking for their money, their pockets, then they should also be running head scatter. You know. But they should key in one person. If Shore is the president to key in, both him and VDM or other RTV, they should just key in and give him support. Then Nigeria we know that we are heading somewhere. But if he want to run under MOP, sharing the vote of everybody, it's not going to work. we still here we are. And I don't know, for real, I don't know what he's even doing. You know, he has that platform already. They have the name, the family have the name and the platform. You know, even people that don't know even people that don't know him, hearing that his father only is like his father only already made the way for him. So I don't know why they are, you know, the way he behaved, you know, I don't know why he behaved the way he behaved, but anyhow, whatever he does, he's a man, he has his own decision to make. You know, you don't always be, I know, he's not what I know, being on the news for at least in some certain issues, he's been on the news in some controversial issues. You know, I don't know if he's an activist or as a musician. I don't really know. You know, they call him activist, but since I don't see him as activist, I don't see him as a musician trying to make a living. I see the musician trying to make a living. We know what activist is. We see people go for it. I see the musician going to make a movie, a living. But if you want to go into politics now, good. But you have to bind to somebody's ideology. For him to say, okay, it's an ideology. I don't know which ideology is right. The way he think is different from how every Nigerian think. You know, the rate of life. Sometimes the rate of life is bigger than what we are thinking. The way I think that's not the rate of life. So that's not my own, what I just want to contribute. If he can drop whatever he's doing and support Wure, yeah, he always says Wure fan, he vote for him. But if you can give him that full support, video and key in, all of that will key in, then we are talking. They will start talking. By the time these people key in, now we are talking about taking the power to the people. It's not just one person that's going to do it. That's just it. Thank you.
Thank you. At diaspora voting, you heard what Uzo asked. So, will you like a President Seun Kuti? President Seun Kuti, is it possible with the movement? And I think, do you think that the movement MOP will be registered as a political party in Nigeria?
You said it was what Uzo asked.
MOP.
Oh, okay. Well, see, let me try to be human, not to be, sentimental. You see, everybody in his own right, has the right to become whoever he wants to be. You understand? If you ask me, do I want UKJ to be president of Nigeria? No. If you ask me, Odi, no, never. You understand? So same thing, maybe no. So we shouldn't first of all put it as if Seun is like it's too radical, it's too this. Even you that is even speaking small English, whatever. No, I don't want you. Everybody has a reason. And if we started leadership in Nigeria as people like Seun, even before we were born, I don't think Ghana would have had any complaint. We would have seen that it is normal. Because I guess there was a time in Nigeria when military was doing their thing, or rather when the first civilians started, then maybe about Awolowo, Azikiwe, then where they were doing that thing, somebody must have pitched the idea of military being head of the country. They'll say, no, never. It won't work, never. They never imagined it. But somehow, some way, it happened. And everybody accepted it. And to some extent, comparing it to the kind of leadership we have now, people still prefer the military era than now. So, but before then, it has a lot of pushback. So, first of all, it's not right for us to. I didn't watch the interview. Let me know, I'm just joined because I just saw you on live, and I started where Odi was speaking, and I would say what he was saying about Seun, sort of, I would say it's not right. It's very wrong. Seun in his own right can say he wants to become anything he wants to be, and that is his right. However he does it is his own personal business, not your business. You might not like it, because if you ask him to, if he wants you to be his president, he will tell you no. That look at you, you have bald head, you wear brown shirt, you always sit down behind, you always sit with books behind you. I don't like it. He will say have his own reason to say you understand. So, but when it comes to opinion, you can challenge. to say, okay, no, I think you should do better this, you should do better that. Yeah? So to say if he has the right to be president, if I see him to be president, it might be no, it might be yes, because everybody has a reason. If you ask his son or his cousin, that they might tell you 100% yes, and it's still their own right, because nobody has the right to judge anybody for their aspiration in life, no matter how they look. They might not be the way you want it, but it's their right. Just like I said, you that is wearing markers right now, sitting gentle, speaking English, correctly English, people will still tell you, no, I don't want you to be my president. Likewise, me, look at you, your beer, no, look at your head, that smoking go, I don't want you. They can say it. You understand? They can say it. And I will not hold it against them, because me too, I don't want them if you ask me. So we shouldn't take it as if it's a personal jab, like, no, I don't want you, you are this, you look responsible, you look, it's his look. And judging from what he has become in his life, he has tried for himself, so to speak. I believe where he has traveled to, you that you think you are a good leader, you have never been there. Maybe the amount of what he has acquired with his own talent or whatever, you that is gentle, you think you are good for president, you've never acquired it. So everybody has their own blessing, calling, or way of life that we as human beings, we don't have right to judge, except they directly come attacking you, your principle, your whatever. They come face to face, they come back with the opposite you. Then you can challenge. You can challenge, like, no, this is my space. I want you to be like that. But if it's a general issue, which it has to be with their own prospects in life, you don't have right to criticize, to challenge them. It's what they want. You understand? And you say, I wish you good luck. If he be, let it be. Because if tomorrow now, like Oji said, if tomorrow now all of them come together, because Nigerians see many of these people as radical people, like he said, very dark man, Showore, and the one other person he called just now. If they all look like radical people, like, no, this guy will beat people anyhow, but they have the numbers. If tomorrow now all the radical men come together now and choose one person with their numbers and they become president, what do you go do? But you will say, no, I don't like them because they are radical. They are this, they are stubborn, they are this and that. But they have the numbers, they have the following. If they come together now with their radicalness and form a party and decide to vote, even if they don't form a party safe, if they decide to put one candidate in like Obi now, or like maybe ADC years from now, and one of them decide to register and they have the money to buy the form, and people rally behind him and they become the nominee, and now with the radicalness now, the Nigerian, they come with the vote with their numbers, will you say no? You're not going to allow them? So this is possible. It's just like, you might not agree with the way the steps are taken to get to that place, because it doesn't go with your own value, but it doesn't mean it is wrong. And it doesn't mean if they get there, they will not deliver better. Because the ones you think they are gentle over the years, what have they done? Nothing. So why don't you think maybe it's even the radical self that has this? Because there are some people here, you might look them like, yeah, they are rough, they smoke this and that, but in their heart, they might be so kind. At least experience have taught me that. There are some people you think they are pastor, they are gentle. If you touch them small, they are worse than devil. You go like, you that think is gentle, you that you smile all the time, that is so quiet, like you wicked like this. There are some people who you think they talk anyhow, they shout, hey, fight this, but they think they will fight, they will burst bottle. But when something happens, they will be the first person to be looking for peace. Hey, no, please now, no, don't like violence now. There are people like that. That's how life is. That's the irony of life. So sometimes people might come across, like for me, the guy is not somebody like I see as a role model for me, or to say because he depends finger or whatever, but that is his own lane. And ask him, has it taken him to where people with his agent today? Yes, he has taken worldwide with his music, with his talent, so to speak. Even his music, people may not like to listen to his music, but he gets fast when he listens to his music, because I've seen this guy playing in concerts. If he's not good, they will not be taking him in concerts, going over the world playing music. If people don't like his music, they play. So he's good in some extent, and so he might still be good in this way of leadership skill too. The way he's roughness is in leadership, people may still like it, because they'll say, yes, those kind of people are the ones that make sure things are really, they don't follow the book. They just make sure, yes, it is this. They must be liked. I don't want to hear that we have to set up committee and 7-man committee to make sure they select. Go and make sure they select, and that's it. That might be his way of leadership. It works, yes, it works. You get my point? It works, yes, it works. So the truth is, like, it might be in his own lane. You might not agree with it, but that is his own lane. So I don't think we should, like, somebody who like we only like to drag people down, and that is just typical Nigerian. I better pass my neighbor. I've said this several times here. We like to drag people down when they don't agree with you, or maybe share the same core value with you. They are like opposite to you, so they must go down, because you must be the one up there. So like for me, like I said, I don't listen to him. I just see him on social media. What are you doing to talk about again? I just take the picture of shots and just move on. You understand? But in his own right, he has done well for himself. I don't think maybe yes with his father's name, but there are many people who came from rich family, they not do as rich as he rich. So he has tried for himself, whatever. If he wants to be whatever, but talk is like if his party, the way his party, with the present Nigeria we have today, they will not want to do it. Why? I don't know. You understand? They wouldn't want to do it. Not because of fairness that is not qualified. It's qualified because I think by Nigerian constitution, you can form your own party. You understand? But if there's a law that's holding him for forming a party, we'll say him follow the law. But if there's no law, he can form because we just saw one right now that just formed AGC. If AGC can be formed, why MOP cannot be registered?
Sorry to interrupt you. No one is questioning. We like more political parties, and I think there are a few things you kind of said. I'm not me or KJ. We're not standing to be leaders. We're not requesting. If he's forming a political party, that means he's requesting to come mainstream. He's putting himself out there in the when this guy as a public, I just made this point with Jago, make it with you again. He's one of the worst critics that we have in Nigeria. I don't know why people feel so thin-skinned for people to criticize Seun Kuti when that's what he does for a living. You said people
understand because I tried to go back.
In everything you said, you agreed. No, hold on now. In everything you said, you agreed with the basic principle of what I said. That he's not a role model. You said it. You said you will not vote for him. You said it.
But I won't vote for him. Sorry.
No, I thought you said I don't want him as a leader. That's what you said now initially. When you called me out, you called KJ out, you called him.
Odi, don't quote me wrong. I tell you, I might not agree with you, but to put him down, like no, he shouldn't. He has his own right to do it. You understand?
Nobody is saying, look, if you've heard me here, I want more political parties. What I said, once someone puts himself out there to become one of our leaders, like you rightly said, I don't agree with him, but he may become Nigerian president. But once he's there, once Tinubu is there, Obi is there, have right to criticize all these guys. So why are you trying to take my right away from saying that you say, oh, Nigeria, we want to drag him? He wants to be our leader, for God's sake. He's saying, I'm going to form a political party. To do what? To campaign to become president.
Let me tell you what he said.
No, that's what.
Wait.
Hold on. Why should I wait? Now let me finish.
No, let me tell you what he said so you can hold him accurately. You didn't hear what he said.
He's trying to form a political party to become the leader of the country.
He's not the leader of the party. He said, I am not going to be the leader of the party because whoever is the leader of the party needs to be there to push things along.
I didn't say. I said to become a leader in the country. If you form a political party, you're not going to shape opinion.
You're not being accurate.
Are you kidding me? If he's the leader of MOP and he's the one arranging primary, you think he's just going to give it up?
He said that he does not want to be the leader.
Odi, let me tell you something. Like I said,
that takes away all your argument.
No, it doesn't. He's coming mainstream.
Odi, you got me offense, and I allowed to speak, but you know what couldn't make a.
No, it's Jago that jumped in. It's not.
Let me. You not jumping away at August now. You see black.
Well, yeah, because you're calling me out in the same vein with Seun Kuti.
I say KJ. I say you.
I know, but that's okay. I don't feel. What I'm saying is that I'm not asking to form a political party. Seun Kuti is, and you can't put me. I don't have to behave as someone who is. I'm not a role model for anybody. I'm a role model in my family. He has to be a role model if he's forming a political party. That's what I'm saying.
But you can't just say role model too. That you don't. There are people that is role model.
Well, to me, I'm talking for myself, my brother. Can you just let me talk? But I said that you are trying to. No, what you said is that you're trying to call me out or KJ and say these people, you're not. I don't trust you like I don't trust him. No. You're making
Like,
this is
I also
apples and
called, like,
oranges.
you were here. I also called myself out. Like, people do not want me because they say my dad might be better.
No. It's not a personality.
People
I'm
will
not.
like me
I
too.
come in peace today. Don't
I'm
worry.
just
I'm
talking.
not.
No, see, because
I'm saying that we need to criticize people. Look, we love
judging for
Fela
this.
Kuti.
Bros,
We love Fela
listen,
Kuti.
KJ,
I'm not
listen,
transfer.
KJ.
What I've refused to do is to transfer the love to Seun.
Just listen now. Just listen. Look, when we talk, let me see. Let's get ourselves correct here. Like I said, I'm not calling you out, whatever. I'm just talking generally. Like, everybody who do not want somebody, so also people do not want you for their own personal reason. I'm not targeting KJU.
Want them for what? No, that's the problem. For what? No, it's not closing your eyes. Want them for what? We're not asking to be leaders.
Ojo, can you get just hold on, just match break small. Like I said, I did not call you out and not call KJ out. It just be like I just use as I take this sequence for the screen. Maybe I will start with Jagun first. That's why I also called myself out. Like I say, even myself, people don't see want me because of my baby, my dad, whatever. BKG, you hear them. So I know they like target whatever. I'm just saying, like, anybody that is saying no to this person, that somehow you are wrong, because that person in his own right has the right to do so.
No, how am I wrong? That's the problem. You said I'm wrong. How can I be wrong to my own opinion? You're in my house. I talk, and you are coming to my house and taking my own opinion and throwing it in the trash. That's what you're doing. You're saying that I have no right to criticize Seun Kuti. That's what you're saying.
No. What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with him painting his nails?
See, now, on a very good day, yeah?
What's wrong with him painting his nails?
See,
no, we'll talk about that one. Now that's not. Oh no, because
that's where these guys are talking about.
No. Here's the problem. See, we live in the United States, me and you. And people can do whatever they want. I'm saying, don't attribute that to Africanism and African masculinity. Don't do that.
I didn't hear that part.
No, you didn't hear him.
No, but I had to leave. But this is the thing. I
don't think any
local people be talking for like 25 minutes. Relax. So for like
25 minutes, I don't understand.
No, I'm exaggerating the time, but you guys have been like.
Have seen forever. You guys would have respected me.
Let
I got it. Do your thing.
Please go ahead. Hold on. Let him come in and speak.
Because now you call this. You say another you talk now. You say
hold on.
I mean, this is for Adi. And by the way, KJ, I wish Tom was here. I wish Tim was here and Dr. Dominic. Great show. What you guys are talking about, and I don't know how we devolved into this, but you guys, it was really nice listening to four of you.
Thank you,
Adi. Yeah, Adi. I don't know. I don't understand where you're coming from, because if you understand African, and I'm not saying you don't understand it, I'm just part of my sentence. If you understand African history, right? Africa never really had a problem with same-sex relations until the advent of the missionaries. So if you read like Roland Hyams' Sex, I think it was Sex and Colonialism, I'll check the name again. He had a book on that. Ed Pratt also had a book on that. And they go in depth about how African societies, not saying they promoted it, but they didn't abhor it until the advent of the missionaries into Africa. It wasn't something like how we look at it now. Like, oh, you're going to go to hell if you have same-sex relations. It never was like that. Africans did have homosexual same-sex communities. They were there. And nobody... Not saying, again, not saying, let me put a disclaimer. I'm not saying Seun is a homosexual. I'm just saying, based on what people are saying, like in the comments, based on your comments saying why is he painting his fingers, and people are like,
I don't have any problem with that. I think you're misconstruing what I'm saying. I mean, I think you don't do African, history, any favor by. I can tell you where I come from. We didn't have, we didn't accept, or there was no place reserved for same sex. I don't know, maybe from your side, maybe you can tell me, and then
it was all over Africa, sir.
I'm talking about where I come from. I don't know what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying. Maybe from your own side, you can tell me more about that. But I don't. I'm just telling you, because one thing that is sacrosanct in most people in Africa, because what you're turning history on its head. What is sacrosanct in Africa is that people don't want same-sex anything, especially male to male. So the idea of you saying, you're trying to paint it that before it was Christianity that, brought homosexuality in disrepute or something.
No,
please don't say that.
Okay, you totally misunderstood what I said.
I don't think Islam.
I'm saying, hold on a second. You totally misunderstood what I said. I said, in Africa, we did not have a problem with it. Not saying we encourage it, but it wasn't. Let me land. But it wasn't ostracized. It wasn't given the same side eye we give it now until the advent of the Christian missionaries. This is just what Africa was. If you go in the north, they have what they call the Dandus, I forget. I could check it. They have them. We've always known that they existed all over Africa. I'm not saying we had to participate in it, and not saying you were forced to participate in it, but we accepted and understood that these people existed. We didn't ostracize them.
I completely disagree with you. Show me evidence.
Okay. Okay, for example, go read Ronald Hyams' sex. Hold on 1 second, sir. You asked me a question. This is not about our feelings. This is about our facts we can prove. So you're asking me for a fact. Go read Ronald Hyams' Sex and the Empire, Mark Eprecht's Heterosexuality Africa. This was in 2008, Ohio Press. And you read, there's a review, a press review, Homosexuality in Africa in 2013, volume 55, number 3. This was also in 2013.
Don't worry, you're going to read my own book. Don't worry. I published a book last year. I'll give you to go and read. That book says there was nothing like what you're saying. Right. What are you talking about, man? Are you trying to twist our brain?
Right.
Like, so you're saying that I should read one book by one Ronald. Who's that guy? African. Hold on. No. African tradition has been orally transmitted over generation. That's what we know. For you to now sit here and say that I should go and read one book by one person that I don't know to tell me about my tradition, at least the way I come from, that this, come on, don't say that,
If you,
because
listen,
you're trying to.
I'm telling you, if you go do a proper research and a proper review, you will see that there was no widespread homophobia. It's not the way it is now. The missionaries, and what Sex and the Empire actually is about, is it was calling out the hypocrisy and the contradiction of the missionaries telling us that in the Bible, look, you're going to go to hell. They're showing of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay, why don't you cut out the missionaries?
Can I? Is it okay if I land, sir?
No, but you cut me off too.
Sir, let me land.
No.
I know, but I was speaking. Let me land.
Off, but they can't cut you off.
I didn't cut you off.
You
stop
do,
talking.
man. Come on, don't.
Sir, I don't want to argue. Let me just land. Let me land. So if you read Ronald Hyams, what Ronald Hyams was the Sex and the Empire actually talks about is the contradiction in the missionaries' position, where they'll show us in the Bible and say, look, you're going to go to hell, you're going to go to purgatory, Sodom and Gomorrah. They're showing us all the stories about Lot, but they were participating in these same acts that they told us was despicable. So it goes in depth just to show the hypocrisy. This is what the book really is about. But outside of that, even in northern Nigeria, homosexuality wasn't abhorred. Even with the advent of Islam, They recognized that it existed. They weren't ostracized. They had their own societies, their own communities. They were left alone to their own devices. But as Africans, we knew that these people existed. So this is what I think Seun was trying to explain. For example, yesterday, I don't know if it was him that was talking about the yin and the yang. There was something he was talking about in one of his broadcasts. I think it was yesterday or 3 days ago, something like that, about the yin and the yang in African culture. So if you go look at it, trust me, the missionaries brought homophobia into Africa. Africans were not homophobic. We weren't. And they brought the homophobia, they brought the fear of same-sex relations. Again, I'm not promoting it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying what the facts are. And the facts are...
Can I talk now? Because, you made your point. It's well taken. But what I'm trying to say is this. The idea that the missionaries brought in homophobia is, I don't understand what you're talking about. Because you need to understand, people like us lived fully to adulthood in Nigeria, and we've lived there for the better part of our lives also. So we've seen the both sides. I'm not sure how much you ever lived in Nigeria. And for us, there was nothing like homophobia. We didn't know what that word is. We knew that there are things you should not do. Period. There's nothing like homophobia and all that. Like people didn't. In my own culture, there are things you do, and we call it taboo. And if you do something that is taboo, then the land has to be cleansed. There are rituals that have to be done to cleanse the land. If a man is caught having sexual relations with a man, it's taboo, and the land has to be cleansed. So the idea that is homophobia, what are you talking? That's why I said you're from northern Nigeria. Maybe this thing you can tell us more about your place and the places that were reserved for this.
There you go again. How do you know I'm from northern? How the hell do you know?
But not from where I could come from. Jagun, please. Is this? Can you? You have opinion. I'd like to know what you have to say about this.
This is what I have to say. Most of the things I say are of personal experience. One day I was in the village, my village, and someone came into our compound, and my whole family knew him. He was extremely camp. If you see the level of hands and the level of the way he walked and prancing up and down. So I was looking at it, guy would be this now. So I told my sister, I said, you see this kind of person? He's a homosexual. She goes to me, no, he's not. He's going around in a very camp manner. It doesn't matter. The fact of the matter is he has 2 wives and 5 children. That's the fact. So I said, wow, that's interesting. But I thought, I wonder if it's the pressure or the tabooism that has pushed him into a heterosexual relationship. Because if he was in London, I think he may have gone the other way. I don't know. The thing about homosexuality is quite tough. The way my mother explained it, I kind of gleaned to it, which is to say we have sinned so much in this world that homosexuality is just part of life. It's part of what happens when sin or tabooism takes place in our society. So, these things aren't easy to define. All I can say for myself is that I'm happy that I'm not a homosexual. And what I mean by that is, even more, I'm happy not to be a transgender. Because I think if somebody is actually a transgender in the real sense of the word, which is to say that he's not pretending, he or she is not pretending, he's not trying to claim fame, he hasn't gone completely crazy, even though I think it is a mental thing, then I would not like to live like that, because I would not like to be that, because it will be the most lonely life I would be able to experience. Hear me out. Imagine that is you. You know yourself, You know who you are. You're heterosexual. But just imagine for a second that you are not even a homosexual, but you're a transgender. You have to think how lonely that position would be. If that is my reality, my goodness, I don't know whether to be if it's misery that I'm causing to myself, not being able to share with somebody who it is that I am inside. Would I even be able to speak about it without shame coming upon me? So fortunately for me, it's only has to be personalized. Fortunately for me, I'm not any of these things. And I could
no one is accusing you of being any of this.
I know. I know.
No. Jago,
Okay.
Brother,
If you guys may,
Jago,
go back to our original topic, please.
Okay, no, let me just say this.
Wait,
we'll go back.
It's not that. It's natural.
No. So, look, it's important to understand that even us Nigerians that live in the West, or at least many of us, people like me, if somebody wants to be gay, it's okay. It's not my business. I
understand.
The best business partners I have are gay. What's the problem with that? I do business with you. We transact. Everybody, like you say, this guy is homosexual, but this guy is homosexual. These are designations.
I understand you.
So
all I'm trying to suggest to us.
No, I hear you completely.
Is that the fact that somebody is living in a body, and his body is telling him something that the society is against. To be that person, bro. I don't know if I can get through it. I don't know if I kill myself or what.
No, so here's the thing. Here's the problem I have with what Seun Kuti is doing, and this is the problem. Nobody is saying
he's not homosexual now.
No, I didn't say he is. No, see, when we went to I went to a boarding school. We saw some of these things happen. People did whatever they did, and everybody moved on. And many folks, you still relate people. We don't even judge anybody. And this idea of homophobia in Nigeria, forget about this. Not, the idea of the word homophobia. Nobody's using homophobia in Lagos. Nobody cares about that word. People interact with who they interact with. In what I do,
you don't have to use a word.
Hold on. In what I do, they put a law in Nigeria. How many people have they put in jail for that law? They put the law just for politics.
But that's still part of the homophobia.
I understand. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you something, and that is important. You didn't live in Nigeria like us, so that's what I'm trying to make sure.
How do you know these things? Like you make a lot of.
It's evident.
Just continue. You make a lot of blanket statements. No, maybe my parents are just more open-minded. Maybe.
Okay, that's fine. I'm open-minded. Here's the thing.
Definitely not.
Well, you too. The point is nobody is looking at anybody and worried about their sexual orientation. What we say is, Seun is saying that he's painting his nails is part of the African, he's trying to Africanize it. I'm saying, no, this is not African. You saying that you're Africa, there's nothing that says your one right hand is male and left hand is female. This is antithesis to have the African tradition that was passed down to us. So whether it's wrong or right, actually the European culture has transcended with their religion, and the Arabic culture with their religion has taken over our country. They have won, but don't come and BS us to say this is because what you like. He likes what he likes. If it's by whatever he is, let him enjoy it, but don't try to make it mainstream. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so this one's something I saw. Let me just read this for you real quick.
Let's move on.
So wait, it's okay. We're having a discussion. There's nothing wrong in us learning. We learned when you guys were speaking about the Bible all along. So it's okay. Let's all learn. So this is something I just seen about Igbo tradition and same-sex marriage, okay? So it says, and you're halfway right here. In Igbo tradition, the Igbo people have a culture that permits same-sex marriage. but not same-sex copulation. In this kind of marriage, a widow who has passed menopause but without a child or a male child goes ahead to marry a younger woman of reproductive age.
And we know these
So
things.
that-
That's what we're telling you. It's
Well,
our culture.
let
We
me
know this.
land. You said it was a board. Let me just land. So that means you agree that same-sex marriage is allowed in Igbo land, but you just came here and told us it wasn't allowed.
No. I made mention. If you're discerning, I said male to male. What I said, the female thing is the female marries the female for not for her own sexual enjoyment, for other males to procreate
Listen,
in the name of her late
So
husband.
the bottom line is same-sex relations were not totally abhorred. That is the bottom
that's
line.
not what
But
we're
if
saying.
one
You see,
if one
see, you're not
if
being,
one was to
look, don't,
if one was to let me
this
just
is
land.
not
So if one was to listen to
instead of
you,
reading out Igbo traditional, why don't you said in the north, you said
okay,
in the north that there is a place that is carved out.
No,
Why
I
don't
didn't
you
say
tell us
that.
about it? Why are you
listen.
running away from that? You're going to Igbo land and digging
stop
out
being tribal all the time. That is a sign of low.
Me being tribal, you're the one bringing Igbo people here.
Wait.
This is silly. This guy.
Guys, the conversation is spoiling. It's spoiling.
Yeah,
like
you said I'm tribal. You're the person that's tribal.
You said,
Shame
hold
on you,
on
man.
a second.
What are you talking about?
Good, but hold on. I think you're getting antsy. Hold on. Just calm down. Because we can't keep giving people false information. If we're here to learn, it seems like you're getting triggered now. And I get it. And I understand why you're getting triggered.
Are you kidding me?
Hold on. Can I please finish? Let's not muddle it up. Okay? Just relax. You're obviously getting triggered. So this is the thing.
Oh, no, you see, you're using the word. You're the one being triggered. I said, you said in northern Nigeria.
And I did say, hold on, let me land. Don't play these mind games. Let me land.
Then you're going
because
to
you
culture.
told us, how do you know it's not my culture? How do you know it's just your culture? This is the tribalism. So let me finish. Can I finish? Is it okay if I land?
You have to say, but just go ahead and say it.
Is it okay if I land?
I'm going to live the life for you, man. If you
want to do that, but I listen to you guys for hours.
Okay, guys, let's take it easy. That's not where we're going. But if I must say something, to Niger, one Africa is an Igbo person. He's an Igbo man. The culture you are trying to teach him is a culture well known to all of us who are Igbos. And that culture is simple. If you marry a lady who has passed her bearing age, and she loves her husband, and she wants her husband to have children who she call her own, she has the right to take her money, choose the woman that she likes, and marry her on behalf of her husband, and bring her to their house. That lady will bear children for her. Those children will be called her children because she brought her, not because she's going to have any sexual relationship with the lady. But this is exactly the tradition that Sarah did with Abraham. She ran out of the time that she thought she could have children. She said to her Abraham, I want to give you my maid. She will bear children on my behalf.
KJ,
this is what is practice. There's nothing to add to it. Let's move on.
KJ, let's stop being smart by half. All right? Let me land, please.
Okay, can we take our last closing moment so we can all close?
If people, just because a person starts saying what you don't like, does not mean you start. I'm not saying you, KJ. Please, let me just land. Please, I'm not saying you. When I say you, I'm speaking in general.
Just make the point. Stop talking about people.
Go ahead.
There you go, Artie. Because a person, I'm making my point. Can I finish? Please? Just because a person is saying what you don't like
Just make the freaking point.
Can I
Talking about
finish,
no, you
sir?
can't finish when you continue this way. Make the damn points and just shut up so another person can talk.
If that's not how you speak English,
Well,
or you cannot comprehend it, that's not my fault. I speak 11 and I speak 7 perfectly. But let me just land. Let me land. Just because you don't like what you're about to hear,
you guys are just
exactly like you don't like what I'm about to say. You came on here, you told us that what I was saying wasn't right. I mentioned the North, I mentioned the Yandaudus, and I mentioned even in Southwest Nigeria. In fact, I said all over Africa, there was no homophobia before the advent of Christianity. I didn't even say Christianity because I knew people might get triggered. I said the missionaries. Of course, the moment I mentioned the missionaries, someone started getting upset. You said, oh, it doesn't happen in Igbo land. And you said, in your place it doesn't happen in my place. Now I'm bringing out proof that it does happen. And I started off by saying, you are right halfway, and I'm reading it because you don't like what I'm about to read. I'm going to disrupt the show. I'm going to muddle everything up, and I'm going to start jumping down your throat. We cannot achieve intellectualism like this. The truth is the truth. The truth can never change, no matter whose ox is God, no matter how.
So we just have to, is it that your way or the highway? You're just a lecturer. We just hear you lecture us and you walk away.
No. I said something. You interrupted me. You interrupted. Said I was wrong. This is what you said.
No. See, the problem is when you're trying to confound people. What you're saying. What we understand by same-sex marriage is not what you're talking about. You're confounding things. Katie just told you, would you call Sarah a same-sex woman? What are you talking about?
I don't care about Sarah.
It's not the same thing.
This is what I did.
No, because you're confounding people. People will go away from this discussion believing that, in Africa too, they do some, before the missionaries. You're just trying to make us agree to the point.
Okay.
That was wrong.
Hear me out. Just hear me out 1 second.
And I'm not going to let you out. I'm not going to let you out of that jam.
I didn't say let me out. I said hear me out. Again, you're not hearing me out. That's why you're not listening.
I did hear you. I said I'm not going to let you out of that jam.
Is it okay let the person speak?
You've been speaking. What's the problem?
You just said something and I'm replying. Let me speak, sir.
Mr. KJ, I have...
Dr. P, let me just end this. So this is what I just said. I started off by saying you were halfway right. I did say that.
He was more than halfway right. He was completely...
Wait, hold on, Jacob. Please. I said you were halfway right. In that, in Igbo land, the male copulation is not allowed. In Igbo land, same sex, this is what I kept saying, same sex between women. Of course, there's a caveat to it. But same sex between women is allowed. Maybe not same-sex marriage. Maybe not copulation.
No. All of those languages are incorrect. You can't speak
incorrect.
Like
what is it? He's
trying
to
is it incorrect?
Wait. I'm gonna clear this up.
Hold on.
Same-sex marriage incorrect between women.
I'm gonna suggest, KJ, would you allow me, please? Would you allow me, please?
From copulation. It's different. Exactly. So what's he saying is wrong? Because he just wants to talk, or it's wrong. What's wrong about it?
Can I speak now without being interrupted? Because I'm not going to take long. But what Speaks is saying, it's an argument, and it's an unnecessary one. Homosexuality, same-sex marriage, these things are being written wrongly for anybody's understanding. If you are talking about homosexuality, then you're talking about a male and a male copulation, or a female and female spitting on each other because you can't call it penetration. So for whatever's going on there, you can classify it a homosexuality, but you can't bring one definition from God knows where and say same-sex marriage is two women married to one man, because that's just normality.
Who said that? What are you even listening to? You just want to talk, bro. Let someone else talk. You're just talking rubbish, man. Come on.
All right, fair enough. You said that. You
just want to talk. Like, what's this one saying?
All right, fair enough. You say you're gonna repeat yourself. At least I won't repeat myself because I don't have to.
You just want to talk. Like,
are you gonna say that a third time? Is it going to make sense when you say fourth and fifth? You can disregard me as much as you want because of your own heresy. That's not a problem for me. What I'm saying, as I've been waiting for you to settle your conversation, I just want to talk. You are taking over the whole conversation for zero reason. Homosexuality is homosexuality. If you want to speak about same-sex marriage, where a woman cannot bear children and she invites another woman for her husband, in order to bear children for her, that cannot be understood in European terms like you're trying to make us do. I reject what you're saying because it's not same-sex marriage. Okay, it's just bullshit. It's bullshit upon bullshit. And then your rudeness is what takes over.
Because you just want to talk, and then when you want to talk, you start making shit up. Like,
since you've come on, this is the first time I've spoken. So what do you mean? What you're saying doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but don't misconstrue what I'm saying just because you.
I've made myself clear as to my opinion and my thoughts as to what you were saying. And when I was listening to you, bro. I don't know you. You can't get like a child. You're behaving like a big picnic. I'm just letting you know that grown men do not accept the bullshit that you're talking. It's rubbish what you're bringing to the table. Rubbish.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Man coming here to talk rubbish and then castigating other people. Why are you saying I'm talking all the time? I like hearing my voice. I know how to speak, so I speak. Apart from coming here to tell rubbish.
Hold on, guys. Hold on.
Who's going to accept what you said? No one's going to accept.
Hold on. This broadcast so far has been able to come to this point. We wanted to do to 10 o'clock. Now it's 22 minutes past 10, and we came basically because Jagun is asked that we come and just have a useful discussion, which you have had. I don't want us to end in this this way.
It would always end like that when this guy is coming to mash up the conversation.
So let's take. I will start from
you've insulted everybody that came on here today.
You know that? I'm going to insult you, bro. I'm going to do it.
I'll give it KJ.
Now you're making everything personal.
But look at you.
Away from the conversation that we were having, you've now become the person who wants to take the conversation over.
Can I moderate? Can I moderate, please, guys?
Yes, please moderate, rather than listening to.
Can you make your closing remarks? Thank you so much for being patient with us.
Never comes here to say anything, asking stupid argumentative questions.
Me? Is it me, KJ? You're muted, KJ. You're muted, KJ.
Sorry, Local P. Thank you so much for being with us. Can you please make your final submission?
No, what you did, I don't like it too. I was talking, you didn't protect me when Odi rudely was just talking, and that was like quiet. I didn't even believe my thoughts.
Nobody was listening to me now. It's not only Odi that was talking. Every other person I've been talking here.
No, but you asked me to talk. I was saying something now. Odi do you finish?
I was talking. Listen to me.
That's what happened, though. That's truly what happened. That's truly what happened.
KJ, look,
what happened is that our guy was speaking.
Biasness by the key
support. So I don't think he was biased. He just missed it. He was speaking.
How am I biased?
No, you're not biased. No.
Let's keep quiet.
It's not. It wasn't biased. It was just a miss of the communication. The fact is, you were talking for real.
Mr. Jagun, listen. The truth is, when I was speaking, when Odi took over, I just felt maybe make a snippet. Let me speak. Odi, not let me talk again.
I saw that.
Came into I was even trying to say maybe KJ will protect me, whatever. KJ lock up. I just decided to keep quiet. You understand? That's why I saw that. You're biased. Trust me.
Let's try and make our closing comments as KJ is asking.
Anyways, I guess what I wanted to say is this, because anyway, like sense-assessment or whatever, I guess where the mistake is coming in because you say that word sex, marriage, not as if like sex is involved. when they say an Igbo widow will now marry another younger woman so that that woman can have children for another man, then this widow will be the one to take care of the children, calling these children our own. You understand? Not that this woman, this widow is having sex with, because of the marrying her, will not mean she will not be having sex with the younger woman. No. The word sex is like same women marriage, same female marriage. That was the word sex, that same sex marriage. Not because it's like sex is, you understand, having sex, literally. So I guess that's where the mistake is coming from. Then the one that you said Sarah did, begging Hagar, that is not even same-sex marriage. Anything like sex is not there. Is Madam number one allowing Madam number two or Asger to born for Oga, make she call her own. That is not even same-sex marriage. You see what Sarah did, is almost the same thing with what these Igbo widows are doing, but with the absence of the male, which happens to be diseased in this period. But in Sarah's case, the man never die. The man still there alive. But the woman go marry younger housemaid for God, making for breed children for her, so that the woman will call her own children. Yeah. But in this case, in the Igbo tradition, Abraham died. So the woman is not allowed to go and do something else. So the sex, whatever, is not the same. That's why I said the copulation is different from, like what Jago said, homosexuality or whatever. Respecting from each other.
Let me interject before you continue. I think I'm misquoting that Igbo tradition. The Igbo tradition didn't say the man will die. He said that when you marry, and it's a different two things. When you marry,
the one I know of is widow. When we were a widow, I know widow.
It's a widow. I said when a woman marries and she has passed the age-bearing limits and she wants her children by all means, she has the right to take her money, choose whoever she wants, and marry the person for her husband. That's one. Two, also in the Igbo tradition, which most people don't agree to practice, if you have a brother who does not have a child but has a wife and dies and leaves the wife, just like it's also in the Leviticus, you have the right, if you want, to go and carry out certain traditional customs and tradition and inherit the wife and have children on behalf of your brother.
They do that. They do that.
Hold on, sir. So I will understand very well. The modern Igbo men don't agree to do that. They don't like it. Okay, they would rather tell the woman, you know what, if you like to be in our house, you can be in our house, but we will not marry you. We can help you, we can do everything for you, but we're not going to marry you. That is also there. Some people even as far as go, you know what, even if you have children, since you are young, it's okay, but we will not, the brothers or the brothers don't want to do that. So these are traditions that have been practiced even before the advent of missionaries in Igbo land, and it's still there till tomorrow. Okay?
Like I said, it happens in the southern part of Nigeria that I know. It happens.
This is what One Africa is fighting. Once you spin it with this language you have now, as Sem, you have now killed everything. Tomorrow they'll start writing books on it.
Confusion with that now.
Yes,
Confusion.
You see, that nomenclature, we spin everything, and before you know it, what they are writing does not have anything to do with what was originally there. And that's why we will always look for those things and fight them. Let's not just accept that that is what it is. You can't coin a terminology for us for what's that and ask us to accept it.
KJ, listen, like I said, there's a name, I've forgotten this Igbo name, because I was listening to one documentary, Igbo documentary, they called the name. What they explained in that documentary, if the woman is widow, like, but you are telling me even if your husband is still alive, because if your husband is alive, I see no reason why the woman will be the one to go and use our money to go and marry for our husband, where your husband can do it himself while he's still alive. I know the husband not don't na cripple, na deaf and dumb. If the woman aspires to childbearing age, not be the husband will also say no, madam, you know, I want to marry second wife so I can have children. Is it the woman that will now use her own money to go and marry for the husband? I don't understand that part. That's why the documentary I watched. Hold on now.
No. Once you are reading the wrong premise, you get the wrong answer. The reason why they put it in that way is that so that when tomorrow the woman comes into the house, you do not upstage the first wife. So you know that you have come to this. Hold on now, you are shouting, you are still interpreting. You know that when you hold on, so that when you come into the house, you know that it is not by your husband will they are there. You are there by the authority of the first wife who has brought you.
KJ, listen.
No, it's right, bro. Don't argue.
I'm not sure what we're arguing. This is
KJ, except you are telling me when it comes to marriage, now the woman I guess say for house. In African tradition, when it comes to marriage, it's the man that chooses the wife and has the say. You understand? Now you are telling me on that about Igbo, I don't know.
No, that's just an argument.
So leave it then. You don't know, then leave it. Let's go.
Listen. Look, that's something. Look, the documentary I watched, you understand? Documentary. I studied the Igbo name for that practice. Like they said, a widow would be the one like to marry, to marry a younger woman to herself, to herself. In the absence of the man, like as I said, widow, not the man is still alive. Because for African tradition, you and I know it. Me never see. You understand? Or the Igbo where I know, where I've lived with or been studied from so far. Like, okay, the man will be in the house because the wife never born. Then the wife will not be the one to go and use them. What if the man does say he don't want? What will now do? Is it by force? So it's the man who is the head of the family that will be the one to take the decision. You are telling me that it's the woman that will take the decision for the man. That don't want to surprise me. You understand? So like I said, documentary I watched is of Igbo. So not that maybe I listen to you. You are telling me something else that I've not heard.
Diaspora voting. You're not wrong.
Listen. I know. You don't try him again. No, you don't try him again. Because you don't want to take the respect where they talk small, less. I tell you, documentary I watched is Igbo documentary. I would have called the name. They call that practice. The Igbo name they call that practice. I've forgotten this. I wrote it down one time. Say I was speaking and whatever. I'll find out they called the name of the practice. They said Igbo when the man is deceased. Now I know of. That's what I understood from the documentary I watched. You understand? Over and over again, I understood it well. This one you're telling me if the man is still, even if the man is still alive, they didn't say the man is deceased. That's why it shocked me. Say that's why I hear them. But in African tradition, if the man is still alive and the man there needs to be children in the house, it's not the decision of the man to take to say I want to go and marry second wife. You know, it's not telling me that the woman will take her money to go and marry second wife.
Wait, don't reply. Don't reply.
Don't reply.
Don't reply. Thank you, because you've repeated yourself 4 times, and it's not necessary. To say it once is enough. We understand. We're here. We got here.
You keep quiet. You're about to repeat.
Blah 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 blah.
Okay, let us move on. Okay, so Kopi, can you do your last? You are finished your listen. Let's go to. I speak the truth.
I'm not going to want to go anywhere. Look, truth be told, yeah. Look, sometimes when it comes to religion and tradition, yeah, I know culture gives birth to culture. You understand? One culture cannot give birth to another brand new entire culture, different from the previous culture. You understand? And also, culture can, the way tribe are formed, like people travel, migrate, before you know, tongues are, new tongues are started. So I believe culture are also being practiced. Some culture are practiced started from one family and spread. You understand? Not that it's what ancestors were doing over and over and over again. So sometimes I think it's good we try and, understand that, look, when something comes in place, if you reject it. Not because it has been practiced before, you must accept it. Because you don't know if the one they were practicing before was even the original one that their own forefather was practicing. You understand? So that's how culture can metamorphose to become what it is today. So I think we should just, if we are talking, whatever works for us, what will you take? But not that I'm saying we should not reference the old culture, but proof to say that the one we met is the original one. We don't have the proof. Even prove that the one your fathers or your grandfathers met is the original one. You don't have the proof, because that is how culture can also be transcended to generation to generation. You understand? That's just for me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Two Niger, 1 brain cells. Your final submission, sir.
Okay. Maybe this time Audi is not going to interrupt me. But
no, stop you. So you just speak.
No, I'm sorry. That's my man. Man, I don't have no problems with Audi. We always argue, but that's still my guy. So yeah, it's just what it is. Tradition is tradition. We come here to learn. I was hoping we were going to talk about the Benin Republic thing, because someone in the comments actually asked me, and I actually thought she was talking about the Benin where local piece from, but I didn't know she was talking about Benin Republic. But either way, I didn't even understand what she was talking about, because I haven't gone to look at what's really happening in Benin Republic. But I was hoping we was going to talk about that and the accusations that Tinubu is kowtowing to the French. And overall, like I said, KJ, like you, Tony, Tim, Dr. Dominic, you guys, it was a beautiful show and I learned a lot from it. So beautiful. Shout out everybody, Jagoon, Artie, KJ, Professor Loco P. I think it was nice that you schooled these young kids. And yeah, hopefully we'll see each other later, next weekend, by God's grace.
Thank you so much. That's a good one to end the show. Okay, so we go to Jagoon.
Again, yeah, I have to give you thanks, KJ, especially in that you did extend a show that would have been ended some time ago. The one that we were speaking about on Christianity, and I found it quite difficult to engage with, but it was learning. There was learning there. And even when we stretched, because Oji came in, and he did stretch the communication, again bringing up Seun, and making the argument stretch even further with about the whole Benin incident. I thought that was encouraging. I didn't really want to stay on the Christian ethos necessarily. So I do thank you. It's a shame when intelligent people, really people whose intelligence I personally respect, think I'm their enemy. I don't know why that takes place, but it takes place. And I'm not afraid of it, but I believe it's a waste of time. I believe that there's a way we can come across where it will turn into an argument, or it will turn into an understanding. And it's up to us. Bringing all things from last year, from 2 years ago to the table, I believe it's just like a waste of our time and intelligence and dignity. Having said that, we are who we are. And as the brother said, we hope that next week brings better findings. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, One Africa.
Well, look, I respect everybody here. I often disagree with Boom Boom Ray, but I think we found a way to balance our discussion. And I think if I meet him in person, I have some personal questions I'll ask. But look, very good discussion today. I'm happy that folks are really thinking outside the box, religion-wise, in Nigeria. Even I was happy to hear some of the things KJ said. And I hope that both Islam, Christianity, people will start thinking out of the box about what are these religions in Nigeria offering us, per se. Because at the core, I don't think there's any problem with in religion. Actually, there's a lot of benefits, both the social benefits and the hope benefits, and the actual connection to a real maker. But, I think it become modeled up that we have folks who now claim they are better than the others just because of Christianity or Islam. And we have to go to some certain places, whether it's Jerusalem or it's Mecca and Medina. You have to go there before you're somebody. No, our ancestors never went to any of those places. And we worshiped God. And we were happy. And we were doing our own things. One of the things that really struck me when I returned to Nigeria after many years was that people stopped going to church. Young men, women are still going to church in droves, but young men said, no, we're not going to do this. It's not like it helped. Even if you come to the East, it became a problem at some point that people now went completely insane with the traditional religion, looking for ways to make money. And it hurt our people. So I'm hoping that we can have this religion. Everybody drop your, shields And maybe one of these days I'll be involved in that discussion. But, you know, going back to Seun Kuti, I make bold to say, I will not transfer the love I have for Fela Anikulapo Kuti to Seun. It's not possible. It's not a legend like his father. And it's my own opinion. And whether he's bringing movement of the people or he's bringing PDP, he can keep it in his house. If he succeeds and he rules Nigeria, he will become my president. I don't, no problem with that. But I reject what he has to offer because he's not a role model. You know, and one more thing, you know, about what's happening in Benin Republic, which it's a shame we didn't go into that. I really wanted to really define people because what I like to know people's stake. By next week, this would have played out and people will now, you know, take sides because this would have shown us where do we place ourselves in this African thing that we're doing, or even if there's hope, or are the soldiers taking us for a ride, or it's just all the neo-colonialists playing around with us. What do we even know what's going on? You know, like I feel so confused with that coup that I don't know, like, what to believe. Like, it's like one day someone may just do a coup in Nigeria and we don't know where we're going. And we just be taken over by some renegades or some foreign country. It's scary, you know. What happened? Imagine you being in Cotonou, which I've been for many times, and people are bombing down. You're just going to market to coming back with small thing for your children, and soon you're hearing flares and bombs. This is a scary thing, and hopefully this doesn't happen to our country. Well, Liz, I hope I'll see you guys again. Thank you for good conversation.
Thank you so very much, and that will be it. I just want to conclude from where he has stopped. Many things will happen in the near future in our country, especially if some elements in positions see the coming of America as something they will not want. Anything can be triggered. I won't say more than that. And it will just be like where Guinea-Bissau, where Jonathan was coming from, where it was the president that declared the coup, that the coup has occurred. So that is a strange coup that are now occurring in Africa that is very difficult for you to explain. So we will look and see how it plays out. But I know that the coup failed, and the president is still in power thanks to Nigeria, who sent their bombers in, and the people gave up before the bombers got there. So whatever be the case, we say now that this is our discussion for this week, bringing it to an end. On Seun Kuti, I would say neither Fela, his father. Fela was not a role model for Nigerians or any parents. I think when he was alive, we didn't see him as a role model. We saw him as a good musician, but not a role model. So his son, right now we can refer to the senior one as being more gentlemanly than himself. So if we are looking for a role model in any of Fela's son, we'll probably refer to the first son. But on Seun, who was with us today, Seun has always been in this order. And I think if he's going to carry a legacy forward as an entertainer, he's going to have this same lifestyle he's displaying, which is what sells his market. And I don't think that we should expect him to be morally upright. Very few musicians are morally upright people. The last of the Mohicans, as I would say in this case, is the Jimmy Cliff, who just passed some days ago, who somehow, by virtue of his own doing, he was able to maintain himself from slipping off to any of the vices and lived a very quiet and peaceful life. Made a lot of impact, but today he's gone. So for sure we wish him the best with his MOP. We wish that he will eventually be able to, if not only winning in the whole of Nigeria, but at least win in Lagos and bring his expertise and advice to the city of Lagos, so that We can see where we have role models that people, other nations, other states can refer to. On the issue of Christianity, we still say the same thing. You know, Christianity is nothing but just moral instructions on how you can live a good life within your neighbor. Everything that is written in the Bible is not written for God to obey. And some of us sometimes we want to go to heaven before we start applying ourselves to righteousness. I want to say this to all of us who are Christians. Your righteousness is required here on earth. Here on earth. If you are not righteous, you cannot get to heaven. Once a man takes his last breath, judgment has begun. So those who are waiting to go and present their case before God to say, it is local that made me to do this, you will not have opportunity of meeting with him, because at the point of death, you go to the direction that you have worked for here on earth. So there's not going to be a time where you stand before God to say, yes, so this will happen, that will happen. No. You are, as every day of our life, we are marking our own register ourselves by what we are doing. So apply your righteousness here now. Do good to man and woman, whether they are of your ethnic stock or not. Know that the same person you are treating badly is the God that you are seeing today. The Bible says, if you cannot treat the person you are looking at rightly, how do you think you can treat God right? So let us start from our neighbors. Let us start from our friends. Let us start from the people in our immediate environment. Treat them well, and then you can be assured of a place in heaven. But if you don't treat them well and you think you can just muster everything, you gather all you can all what you can and sit on it, you will not make it that way. And Jesus made a very good example. He said it is easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of God. Now, if I don't have time to explain that, but I'll just give you an example. The eye of the needle is talking about here, people think it's the eye of the small needle. No, there's a gate in Israel that usually enter the city called the eye of the needle. It's a small, it can only carry you through. You can't be on a camel and sit on it and enter. Neither can a camel go through it. So he's simply saying that you have to be well creamed and cream and whatever. You have to be cream and proper before you can pass through that gate. So that means for all of you, for me, for every one of us, we have to, put our ass together. Know that your good is for you first and foremost before your neighbor. Do good, because if you do good, good will follow you. That is the law of nature. Everything about earth that we live in has its own nature. If you jump up, you must come down. If you sow bad, bad will follow you. If you sow good, good will definitely follow you. Let us learn to sow good, that good may follow us. I thank you all very much for spending your time and your treasure with us this weekend. Next week will be another time when we will bring something much more entertaining. We are looking forward to bringing let me just give you this. We are looking forward to bringing those people who played parts in the East to come and talk to us now that the news may break up or break this week concerning the Tiger base that we have been talking about all this while in Imo. So we are looking forward to see if we can get any of those. If we get them, then we will now set them up and we all can listen to them and their testimonies of survival and their ordeal with the Tiger base. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure, really. Thank you, Bombure, for what you did. You are fair-minded. Like, I wouldn't have thought you would go through the Christian discussion, but you are very fair-minded. So thank you for that, and have a good night, all of you.